Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, I think we're called, and it's the awards show, the much anticipated by a grand total of no one other than me because I organised it all. It's wonderful to be back. People have been asking where we are. What's he doing? Oh, Chris is misbehaving already. If you're not watching,
sorry, who organised this tonight? Sorry, who, Danny?
Joe, you organised, but you.
Thank you. That's all. Carry on as you are.
Just send me a text and rudely wake me up twice with a. Should we do a show tonight? But I did all the website editing and did all the tweets and all the rounding you lot up to actually fucking vote.
Sorry, what time did I rudely wake you up this morning? Sorry, this afternoon? What time?
Yesterday, of a Sunday, I was up at 9:45 a.m.
No.
That's because you were so excited about the football.
Don't make me start itching myself. God, I went out yesterday. There was no sun but cloud. I got sunburnt. Look at that.
The question asked, dear listener, was what time I disturbed Danny in the afternoon today. And he hasn't answered it yet because he's a lazy shit and he's been in bed all day.
That's the first time I've had more than 7 hours sleep in a week. I slept for 10. Oh, I should make a musical out of my life. It'd be fabulous. Right, people at home who are not watching this, with me tonight, I have got ABW's number one, Josh. It's Josh. Howdy doody, Josh. You all right?
I'm very well, Danny. Despite what may have happened, as they say, the best racist won.
Oh, excellent. And also I am joined by Chris, who has changed his Twitter, and somebody sneakily stole his old Twitter and did some anti-France propaganda. I can't think who that might have been.
Did they really? I haven't seen this.
Oh, you fucking idiot. Josh was messaging me and tweeting me. I've changed it back now to whatever, something else I've made up. But yeah, it was all France. Oh no, they're a rubbish team. Oh, no.
Who actually did that? I mean, I genuinely didn't see this.
Me.
You did it. You've got so much time on your
followers.
But yes, I have. I have indeed changed my handle. There may or may not be a certain amount of sponsorship related requirement in it, but yes, I have indeed changed my handle, Instagram and Twitter. At KC Runs, that's me.
Oh, there you go. You spelt runs wrong, don't you?
I do. Yes, I'm down with the kids. You wouldn't understand. Move on.
Not since the court case. I haven't. We've actually got a very special guest. I can see him in the bottom of our screen. He's waiting there. And he's all ready to go. Should we bring on our special guest because he's one of my favourite Arsenal players ever? Should we bring him in straight away? Meant to wait.
It's not Rami Shaban, is it?
It is. It's the one and only Kevin Campbell. Hey, big Kev.
Oh,
how are you guys? How are you?
KC, look.
I am brilliant. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. You were here before.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Josh.
Hey, Kev.
Hey, everyone, how are you doing? Everyone,
you are the man who has stolen Rami Shaban's award. Rami has won that award 3 years in a row, and then the last 2 seasons we didn't have anybody special on. So you've stolen Rami's award. How do you feel about that?
He could have it. I don't mind. I'm not bothered about. Look, you know why I got involved. I got involved solely because, as a fan now, I have a different perspective, and obviously we were getting into lockdown and stuff like that, and I wanted to give the Arsenal fans an opportunity to be able to connect. That's the only reason why I done it. So I didn't do it. I didn't even know Sophie had to convince me. I thought it was a wind-up.
No, if people are wondering what this is the ABW 2020-21 award for the best ex-pro or celebrity guest. It was a choice between you and Rami Shaban, and you got 67% of the votes, and Rami Shaban got 33% of the votes. So there you go. Does it mean as much to you as your 2 title-winning championships with Arsenal?
Well, I got one. The first one. Yeah, the first one. Don't forget, I was in the squad, but I didn't play enough games.
They didn't. It's the 10 games thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it was 10 games. But listen, 89. I still feel like I won. I won a medal. Trust me. But listen, obviously, it's nice to win something. It's nice to be recognised. But as I say, I didn't get involved in all this side of it for accolades or anything like that. I got in it to connect with you guys, to be honest, and the fans.
Have you two got anything to say to Kev? I'm going to be quiet now because I'll just keep talking nonsense.
Josh, you by all means.
Oh, no, I was going to say, you, Chris, go first.
Oh,
I thought you were gearing up for something. I know, right? It's just too much.
Well, from a personal perspective, I'm very excited to be working with you, Kev, next season, and Sophie, which I'm sure we'll touch on later on when she's with us. But just really good to have you on. I think mostly when we do these podcasts, like as you quite rightly said, Kev, it's an opportunity for people who may or may not have met each other, but it's more important than that. It's just about kind of the Arsenal family. And I know that's a little bit of a cheesy tagline, but people, like you said, have been through a rough time in lockdown. And it was really nice to interact with people like yourselves. I think it's fair to say legends like yourself. I don't want to make you blush, but it's true. And just a chance to chat about some of the good times. We've had some rough times of late, both on and off the pitch. And it's really, really nice. Been really nice to connect with you and people that associate with yourself and in that era, and hear some of the fantastic stories. And we've been lucky on this pod to have a few what I would call big names, both footballers and from the media as well. I'll never forget sharing off-air jokes with Matt Lucas as long as I live. That was just the most bizarre, fantastic time ever. But it's really great to share footballing stories with yourself. And I think you're a very worthy winner. I'm sure Rami is secretly wringing his fist going, I want that award back. But I'm sure he's very happy to give it up to a fellow Gooner.
That's nice. Thanks, Chris. And you know what, Chris? Here's the thing. When you interact with the Arsenal family, you know you're going to get opposition as well.
Oh, yeah.
And that, I think that is the welcoming part for me, because some people agree, some people don't agree. Oh, Uni!
She started yawning.
What a catch.
You see that? Oh, yeah. So, a lot of the, as you said, a lot of the great content is down to this woman. Sophie is amazing at what she does, as you all know. And she's during lockdown, she just went from strength to strength and produced some incredible shows. And all I needed to do was be available, just like a player. Just be available and you're in. So, no, it was brilliant.
We've now got, for the people at home, we've now got Sophie from the Highbury squad. We're just saying to Kev's just admitted that winning this award that he doesn't actually get anything for means more to him than any of the trophies he won with Arsenal. I think that's what he was saying. There's Sophie.
That's it.
I love it. I love it. He deserves all the trophies in the world, does Super Kev. And hi, Danny. Hi, Josh. Hi, Chris. And thanks for bringing me in as soon as I was yawning after what was a debacle of a weekend, it turned out, from a sports perspective, no doubt. But yeah, I mean,
the award you've
Kev's
won
amazing.
Is the best ABW 2021 best journalist guest. You come first with 43%. Simon Scoop Collins comes second with 36%. Tom Canton 13%. I don't think he got any of his millions of adoring Cantonites. I think they may well be called. And then in fourth place was Chris's mate, French Football Weekly podcast with 8% is Jeremy Smith. So Sophie, how much does this magnificent award we gave an award in the first season to Jeff Arsenal? He never gave it back. So how do you feel? Have you been moonwalking all day since you found out you were a winner?
I mean, as Cher once said, now I know you like me. You really, really like me. Wanky speech that she gave at the Oscars one time. I love coming on your show, and I just love that, people enjoy what we do and, our conversations. You guys were the very first podcast to have me on and support me, and I'll forever be grateful for that. I'll never forget Jeff introducing me to you, Danny, and then I met Chris, and then, slowly I met everyone else like Josh and the rest of the gang. And you guys gave me a voice when really, as tough as it has been for women to talk about football, there are a lot of really good, positive Arsenal men that give and have given women the platform to talk about football. And, sometimes people see a lot of women on TV and on radio and they think, here we are, we've arrived, but there's a lot to do. And we've seen that there's still a lot to do across the board in our game. We've seen that is evident in what's happening today on social media. So I'm always grateful to you guys for giving me the voice at the very, very beginning. You and Axe and Giles as well from Gooner Ramble too. So thank you very much.
Wow, that's a very good speech. It's
Is it too serious?
That's the best bit of content we've ever had at ABW. We've peaked.
and the most meaningful. It's, do you want to tell the wonderful listeners about your latest signing for the Highbury squad? He's a dirty pirate in the top right-hand corner.
I mean, I'm just saying, not only do we have the dirty pirate signed up, we also have the man in the middle there to come on next season to talk tactics, and I'm looking forward to that too. And Chris has also agreed to come on and talk to us about French football. The Highbury squad is expanding next season in terms of the type of coverage and content that we're creating. I think you guys know from our point of view, we love doing a little bit more than just the game day stuff. We like talking about football life. We've got Kev talking to ex-players. I've always loved Chris's perspective on French football, and it's so close to the Arsenal heart. We're still ingrained in looking for talent. You know, in France, one of our biggest talents who we haven't seen play yet will be going back to France for another loan season. So Chris will keep us informed on that stuff too. And then Josh is joining us for post-game analytics, and I love his brain and how he thinks outside of the box, and he never wears any rose-colored glasses. This is what I love about these two guys. And I think that's what Kev enjoys too, is that you look at what's in front of you versus what you think might be the politically correct thing to say. So we're excited and we're delighted that they're going to be coming on board and hanging out with us for a few episodes next season.
I'm glad that you didn't get me on for any England coverage, because that is me at my most irrational, as Chris will attest to.
Can confirm, yeah.
Are you looking forward to having these two doing stuff for you next season, Kev?
Yeah, very much so. Look, I like different opinions. We've spoken before, and I think we could get some fire going with Chris and Josh. I could tell you that much, because you know me, Daddy. I like to tell it like it is, and if I don't like what you say, I will question it. So I think we could get some fire going.
It's the only way. I agree.
It's the only way. That's right.
Yeah, and you guys have been like I know that Arsblog is called the Podfather, but you guys are definitely, what do the kids call it these days? Is it the OGs? I don't even know what that means.
Original gang.
Yeah.
Original.
We're about to start our 9th season next month.
You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's either OGs or idiots. I don't really know. But we're still here, so.
So we're more like the Lost Boys from Peter Pan, just a rowdy bunch of reprobates.
Well, you've got Vinny Vieira's endorsement, as you can hear. So yeah, but no, thank you guys. I mean, you guys rock. I really appreciate you. And Danny, you are just someone who connects so many different podcasters and people. And you're an epic human being. So, appreciate you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. Have you got any shows coming up tonight that people can tune into later?
No, guess
We're
what?
having the night off.
We're having the week off.
Wow.
I know. We haven't had any time off since before the lockdown series. We took 2 days, maybe before the Euro started after the Premier League. I have to say, I came on yawning today, right, Kev? But It feels like it's been a long season, and it was
no break.
There's been no break whatsoever, and so just to have a week off where I throw dodgy toys to the dogs in the backyard, and we go down to the beach, and probably get sunburnt when we shouldn't, and do all those summery things. I'm really excited and looking forward to it, and we'll be back with a bang next week, though.
Excellent.
31 days to go. So the league season
That's
start.
right.
31 days.
Josh, you're back on it.
Well, I think the last time we did an actual ABW show was the 10th of June. Chris did a FIFA special. The one before that was the 23rd of May. Apart from the football hipster stuff, but we've done absolutely nothing, and I've been loving it. So we might do a couple of things every now and then. But
it's surprising we haven't done hipsters since France got knocked out. I don't know.
Hey,
Chris, I
tried, and you lot were all busy. So I tried to organise something.
You just had to pick up one day straight after the England game. Like no one's coming on for that one.
I mean, we can still do one to round up the Euros. It's fine, but
Do you guys love how whoever's been knocked out of the Euros at some point ends up with the dude with the salt thing, like at his steakhouse in Mykonos? I've noticed that one by one, week by week, there's always a footballer that ends up there
I'm
eating gold steak and gold cappuccinos and stuff. It's kind of hilarious.
I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but I did enjoy Arsblog describing him as salt wanker the other day. That just made me the salt wanker man. Just made me laugh. Yeah,
Well, your boy Mbappe was there the other night.
That was a slightly awkward interaction.
Could they get both their egos in the same restaurant, or did they have to open and eat al fresco for that one?
They did, but they had to move Neymar out first. It was tough to get all three in. So yeah.
Poor Neymar losing Copa America final. Bless him. The tears, you could hear them. He was sobbing like a child. Bless him.
He was. But what class, to be fair, to go up to Messi afterwards. That's a classy human
being. Class act. Very much so.
I didn't see a lot of the England players hugging the Italian players last night, to be honest. Did I miss that? Was that just not shown on the broadcast here? I don't know, but
I think they were too busy around Saka, Sterling,
I think
Sancho, and
I think the Italians ran to the other end as well.
Yeah, they went straight to the fans, didn't they? Yeah.
Was that Saka? Was that his mum hugging him in that picture where he's crying, or was that just do we know who that is? Have you guys seen that picture?
I thought it was his mum. I must admit that would make logic sense, I guess. Anyway, but yeah.
I can't stop thinking. I can't stop thinking about him today. I really can't.
Who's Saka?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I put on Twitter last night. I'm leaving Twitter for a while. I'm just not doing any tweets. I can't be bothered with all the arseholes on there. They're just going to keep getting away with being horrible, nasty, racist, filthy scumbags. There was an Arsenal fan calling Saka the C word, and it was his fault that England lost. As an Arsenal fan, should be banned from football for life. One of our own.
I know.
A 19-year-old child, and you're doing that. Not a child.
And I know it's not the most important thing right now because, a person's well-being is far more important than the game, but we aren't getting the player we know in Bukayo Saka back this side of Christmas. I don't think that's going to massively. He's going to take months to get properly acclimatized back. I'm sure we'll do everything we can at the club, and I'm sure you've seen his teammates have all tweeted, and there's been Instagram
but with
posts.
All the crowds at the Emirates, the first time the crowds are there, they're going to do nothing but cheer him.
Oh yeah,
even the away fans.
Kev has an interesting perspective on this because we spoke about it last night and I said the similar thing. But Kev, you had a different take on it a little bit, didn't you?
Listen, that kid, he surprised us all, and he will continue to surprise us all. Yeah, he will be feeling a little bit hurt and down, but you know what? All the good messages and everything that he's got a good teammates around him. They've supported him. With all the gooners out there, the proper gooners, not like that arsehole that you mentioned, Danny, which was an absolute disgrace. Saka will be back flying. You watch and see next season. He'll be fine. Because you know what? One thing he is a damn fine player. Yeah. And you cannot stop that talent. You can't stop it.
And I think the manager that, under Southgate, there's a guy who knows what it means to miss a shootout in a crucial game for his country at a home tournament. Mm-hmm. That's much as you want to say to it, that is the perfect person to have there around you at that very moment. He knows exactly what he's feeling, and I imagine the first bit of advice is don't do any adverts for Pizza Hut.
I was just going to say, don't do Pizza Hut.
That's what I'm thinking. Is that something he's going to go down?
Pizzas are out now. We're banned pizzas.
Man. I just, it's where it's like under the lights of Wembley in London, all of it combined in front of your home crowd. And I mean, when he stepped up to take it, to be honest, I was like, what? I mean, I'm sure like most Arsenal fans were like, Saka's taking the fifth penalty. What? And I just took a deep breath because I just had this horrible feeling in the pit of my stomach after having such a wonderful tournament and really bringing joy to this team, to a lot of non-Arsenal fans. People fell in love with the Saka that we know and love. And it was such a beautiful thing to watch. And then to have it end that way, he just really deserved better. And I think the Grealish narrative today is very interesting too. And when you look at that clip where Southgate goes up, he goes straight up to Saka. He doesn't even look at Grealish. Amazing. He's just so brave, isn't he, Kev?
Look, he is brave. And what we've got to realize is this is high stakes football, especially a final. When it comes down to that, if you win, you're legend for life. You're legends for life. Someone has to take the penalties. And I know Sophie mentioned about Harry Kane taking the last one, etc. Yeah, maybe the captain could have said that. look, at the end of the day, we don't know if you change the format of your shooters, it might be different. Who knows? But the fake thing, we just couldn't get over the line on the day. Yeah. But this is football. The accolades are there if you win, but the downside is always there if you lose. And who
would have thought Jorginho would miss as well? I mean, it was all set up for him to win it. I mean,
that's what I said. That's exactly what I said. I said, to think Jorginho, he don't miss.
No.
Yeah. The job Pickford did for the shootouts was just
my God,
incredible.
He was unbelievable.
Phenomenal. Look, there were some phenomenal performances throughout from England players, but unfortunately, we just couldn't get over the line. Maybe because we just weren't mature enough yet.
Well, it's Italy were the best team. They and from the second half on, I thought it was a Mancini masterclass. I just think that England were always chasing the game and hoping for another counter-attack. And I mean, Italy just went all Italian on us. And, the best team, I think, did win.
The keep ball was unbelievable,
Yeah.
And the pressing with the energy levels in the second half was just, they got a second win, didn't they?
Yeah. Totally.
As Kev says, it comes down to experience. This England team got to a semi-final last time around in the World Cup. 3 years later, they get into a final. World Cup comes around in another 18 months or so. The way the calendar's falling, this is another opportunity for them to kick on again. And that squad's, I think, the oldest player is Harry Kane, isn't it? At 28.
Yeah.
Pickford 27. They're all coming into a right
prime,
level
all prime.
Yeah. So other than Walker, Walker's the old one in there, but otherwise. There'll be somebody that's coming through at that kind of age range. Who knows what 2 seasons of Tariq Lamptey looks like for playing into the right wing back slot, or Reiss James, who's given more time to develop at Chelsea.
There's a lot of young players.
Yeah,
the players that didn't even get to play, right? I mean, guys. I mean, like Bellingham even, and
James Ward-Prowse didn't make the squad, did he? And I thought they missed his delivery several times.
100%.
In this Euros.
World Cup winning Calvert-Lewin as well. After he scored the goals at the under-21s. And
didn't see Connor Cody as well.
No.
I thought it's criminal how much Harry Kane was just constantly played. When it showed how annoyed I am with Southgate, there's things like that how can you be winning 4-0? Harry Kane's got 2 goals. He's your main man according to Southgate. Keeps him on the pitch to keep playing. Not only is that dangerous in case he got injured, but then you got Calvert-Lewin and Rashford who would have loved to have come on and they could have done something, but he just played. No matter what happens, Kane starts and plays every minute of every game, and it's just ridiculous. Those young players need that experience, and he didn't really get much.
As captain, Harry Kane don't want to come off. Remember, earlier on in the tournament, Harry Kane came off, if you noticed. But when it comes to knockout, Harry Kane wants to be there for sure.
Do you know what?
He wanted the golden boot, didn't he? As well.
He's a very selfish, I think. And I'll tell you something. What I think I came away from the penalty shootout. If Gareth Southgate is saying he made the decisions, there was something about it that I just think he's protecting certain players. Personally, that's just my opinion, not anything I know of. And Harry Kane, to me, seems like he has way too much player power. You saw it at Tottenham in the Champions League final, and it probably in turn, long-term, cost Pochettino his job. And then in the Euros as well, it feels like he's he can't be substituted. He's and taking the first penalty as captain and leader. Ronaldo wants the glory. He wants the 5th penalty. Even Messi, who's taken a 5th penalty and missed it for Argentina. I just felt like in that moment, where's your balls? Why aren't you stepping up? And it's not because he's a Tottenham player. I would have said it about Henderson if he was captain, or Maguire. To me, Maguire kind of stepped up more like a leader in this tournament when he did start playing.
I was so impressed with him.
Me too.
Really liked him.
He made a huge difference to the team.
Yeah. There's something about Kane, I think, that he's got too much say in what happens. And that's just me. And that's my Sostradamus vibe.
I think the fact he missed against Denmark, that was a big thing of, I want a penalty straight away. I want the next one immediately. And that's why he took the first one. And I'm not too bothered about the fact that he scored it. We got a point on the board. At that point, it's 1-0, it's the pressure. I think Italy then go and miss their next one off the back of us getting something there.
I think Maguire could have easily taken the first one, though. He's so confident. You know,
essentially. I think
Henderson, Phillips,
Henderson, Phillips.
Henderson had already gone
Henderson
off.
weren't on. He weren't
Oh
on.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Well, he took off Henderson and
pitch.
Reiss, who could have easily taken penalties.
Well, no, Reiss came off early, didn't he?
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm saying like he's bringing on a cold Sancho and a cold Rashford. I mean, I just think that
3
he's
minutes
set
to warm up.
It just I didn't sit well. And when Reiss went off, I felt like we actually regressed even more in the midfield. Felt like, you know, we kind of lost more shape as well. But managing the game to just bring on 2 penalty shooters, and Kevin and I talked about this and disagreed last night, but I just thought that was really unfair. 55 years. You've been waiting 55 freaking years. And you've got Kane, you've got Henderson, you've got mature players like Maguire, Luke Shaw, Kyle Walker, and you then put your stock in Jordan Sancho, Marcus Rashford, who have hardly played in this tournament, and then your 5th penalty you give to, I understand like he can take it, but at the same time, I just think in this instance, in this game, Gareth Southgate was perfect throughout the tournament, but I think where he needed it the most, he missed the boat completely.
I think as an outsider, like, you know, as a person without a horse in the race, as a, you know, well documented, I'm not really an England follower, but I feel that Southgate as a man is top class as a manager. I think there's still a lot of flaws that he can learn. Like, don't get me wrong, you can learn those, but at international level, you look at like Mancini, look at what he did. He didn't get anywhere near the credit he should have got at Man City for what he did there. He sort of paved the way for the Guardiolas of this world. The job Luis Enrique did at Spain, under all that criticism, he got them a lot further than they should have done. You know, even Jurgen Löw, okay, Germany went out early, but knowing that he was a manager on the way out of a tournament, he still banded together that group. He still got them through that group of death, if you will. There's a lot to international management, and Southgate off the pitch and everything he said. The sort of conversations he had about taking the knee and standing up for the equality and everything like that, fantastic, absolute. And he spoke very, very well. But tactically, there's, you know, that's ultimately your bread and butter. And at the very top level in a major competition, European final, that's when you find out who the real tactical managers are and the real elite of the elite. They're the managers who make those decisions, like Mancini made with the substitutions, and they get the job done. So it's, as I say,
but Chris, you say about the tactical, but Southgate got it right because it had to take penalties.
Yeah, true.
My point of this is, we can criticize, of course we can. But you know what? He's done a lot better than a lot of managers who were so-called more tactical, more technical, more experienced. Over his period of stewardship of the England manager, he has been nothing short of miraculous, other than winning a title.
You're driving Sam Allardyce to another pint of wine here, Kev.
Well, do you know what? He could have a vat of wine. I wasn't a big believer in Southgate. I've got to be honest with you. But I look at the job he's doing, and I look at the youth in this squad, and I just think, you know what? We are so close. This is the key part now. He's going to have to make a few tweaks to this squad to get it, to help us get over the line. Can he do that?
Yeah, and there were only 2 squads or 2 nations in that tournament that I think seamlessly could jump between 2 different formations, and that was Italy on the one hand and England on the other. The way that they could seamlessly jump between a 5 and a 4 at the back. France had the troubles with their diamonds, but I think that was more about them trying to shoehorn in a very different striker in Benzema than Giroud, that entire squad was used to basically pivoting off Giroud being the focal point. But yeah, the way that Southgate's brought this kind of team together, he looks like he's learnt, and that's why I kind of, you know, after the Scotland draw, I thought that was almost an inexcusable result in a home nation. You can't have such a passive response in that game. I thought it was maybe time to look at him go, but getting us to the final and the stuff we've seen there, you can see that although he made a couple of mistakes, I thought Trippier should have stayed on the field when he just elected to take him off. But those are the small things that you can see that he will learn from those, because he clearly learnt from Croatia and Belgium as well. number of fixtures we've had at that point, and I think the Nations League, as much as people say, oh, it's a nothing tournament, oh, nobody cares about it, it's Mickey Mouse international football. England have played Spain, Denmark twice, Croatia twice, Belgium in that kind of competition. They've got that big game experience now. And that's one of the things that the English squad's never really had, is it's always been, oh, once we come up against Germany. Germany, I was absolutely certain we were going to win that game because it was at Wembley. Everything that was going to happen with, England versus Germany, whilst we can see the tipping point of that rivalry that spilled over into the streets of, Leicester Square yesterday, that kind of passion for England can certainly tip the needle the wrong way. I think with where we were with Germany, that was the perfect level of hostility. And we knew that would drive the team through. I think it was a very nervous crowd in Wembley. As soon as we took the lead, you felt that, and that wasn't necessarily what was needed.
You have to slightly, and I hate to be, again, the guy who maybe tinkles over the fireworks a little bit, but hey, it's my job. You do have to slightly take into consideration when you look back, as well as England performed to get to the final, you can't overlook the advantages that they had in this tournament. And as you rightly say, Josh, they can only beat what's in front of them. I appreciate that. But when you look at how the bracket fell, I mean, I tweeted after they got through the first stage, I said anything but the final is a failure, and fair play, they got there. But it'll be very interesting to see how we deal with even the silly thing like the heat of Qatar. How are we going to transition into that? Because a lot of people today have said, oh, this team's ready. And I tend to agree with what Kev said. This is the time. If they're going to do anything, this generation, it's their time to do it. If they're going to do it now, there's going to be a lot of teams that are it's going to be a very strange World Cup, how we're going to adjust to, as I say, the climate, the situation of when it's placed. And I'm sure we don't want to give too much airtime to the hooligan minority. But one thing I will say to you, lads and lasses, is if you're planning to go and do that in Qatar,
good luck.
You ain't coming home, and if you do, it's in lots of pieces in a suitcase by sea. So I wouldn't be doing that in Qatar, ladies and gents. So maybe stay home for that one.
Yeah, it's so funny, isn't it? How for a long time, a lot of English fans thought that England players were just selfish, and that golden generation really came across as such. The Beckham, Rooney, Gerrard, Lampard, Ferdinand, Terry era, and when you hear stories now about how they operated, kind of in that manner, in the sense that players going into the setup thinking and feeling intimidated, maybe not as embraced and as welcomed as they are now. And one thing you can say about Gareth Southgate is what he's done to restore a true team environment, and everyone is equal. And I think that came across in how we played, how we celebrated. I think it's a really important thing for England, especially kind of, coming out of tournaments, just thinking that these players just were apathetic and didn't really care. And he's totally transformed that vibe. And what scares me about that a little bit too, though, is that a little bit like Arsenal, we became too nice, we became too polite. We became pushovers. We were the nice boys. And I also think that Chiellini, Bonucci, they just add this different. I think Maguire's got it in him. I really do. I think he's got that vibe to be a little bit antagonistic and kind of put his elbows out there and play that way a little bit, but at the same time have that leadership. And I just fear that England might end up just becoming too nice and accepting, like, oh, we did well, pat ourselves on the back. And you said, Kev, on the show the other day, they have to win it to believe it. And I think in the end, losing mentally, how they react, and that's my biggest concern, really.
I think we've taken over the.
I know what's going on.
Welcome to
supposed to be on for 5 minutes.
we might get more people watching now. But the only thing I'd say about it is, I'm not a fan of Southgate or what he does, but if you go and look at Wikipedia and you look at England's last two tournaments, final and semi-final, you look at the 20 years before that, bugger all. Yeah. So I'm obviously wrong. There's so much potential. The only thing I'd say to Gareth, if you're watching, get used to using another striker. Don't rely on one man all the way through the tournament, because he did nothing for most of the tournament. And
Penny.
when you've got, I mean, I'd like to have seen Sterling play out front with Saka and Sancho as the wingmen. And but again, if you look back and said a couple of years ago, England's midfield duo, one's going to be from West Ham, one's going to be from Leeds United, you'd have gone, be yourself. After all those years of the players being from the big clubs, like you were saying, Soph, there's more equal in the whole of this England side. Apart from Kane, who I think he thinks he's better than everyone else, the rest of that squad, they're all mates that would drink together, and I think that's the future for England.
Yeah,
there's a good balance, Danny. You're right. There is a good balance in the squad. And,
I like it.
At the end of the day, I think in 18 months' time, there might be more players, different players who are involved in that squad as well, because there's going to be players who mature. There's some players in the squad who might not be there. There's going to be some players who develop in the next 18 months who, you look at the likes of Ollie Watkins, for instance. Ollie Watkins is Smith Rowe. Listen, we could look at a number of young players who Ward-Prowse was mentioned. I think he's a fine player. Yeah. His deliveries make a difference.
Those set pieces could have been so useful.
And we won so many good positions for set pieces, and we didn't really capitalize on it. No. So.
Yeah,
it's the small things, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the quality of the ball in and the quality of the players that are available in the box. And when the only two players that are really able to head the ball are your centre backs, because your striker refuses to jump for the ball anymore, I think it's a bit of a problem, especially when you look at Calvert-Lewin and the leap he's got on him. He's a fantastic striker, and he came on leaps and bounds under Ancelotti, which I'm sure, Kev, you would have seen on the ground as well. Opportunities to see him.
And remember, kids, when you've got a Tottenham centre forward, it's the history of the Tottenham. So you know the rest.
On those wise words, we should say thank you much to Sophie and Kev. That 5 minutes lasted half an hour.
Thank you. Thanks, Josh.
Sorry.
Thanks, Chris. See you later.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, everybody watching. Cheers.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
They can find you, Soph. Give a little plug for the podcast before you go.
Find us on YouTube at Highbury Squad, same on Twitter as well. Give us a shot, and you'll find some really good content you'll enjoy, and you'll see some of these mugs next season too. So,
and if anybody wants to see Kev, just turn on the TV, because he's going to be all over TV now, because everybody loves Kev. Thank you very much, you two.
Thanks, Dan.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Josh. Thanks, Chris. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, wow. It's not often you get to speak to someone who's one of the most loved Arsenal players, and then going and doing all the media stuff that he does. Like, I know, it's absolutely fantastic. You said one of you said 18 months. Is it? It's not 18 months, is it? It's
December 2023.
Until the World Cup.
Isn't it January 2020?
Next winter 23, isn't it? Yeah.
No, it's November, December 23, which is 2.5 years away.
I thought it was 22. I thought it was the
it's
winter
22.
of 22.
It is 22.
It's the 22 World Cup.
Bear with us, dear listener. I'm going to.
Of course, I'm thinking 4 years after this. It's not.
I'm talking about the World Cup.
Yeah, it starts
I'm glad they didn't say
December
anything now, because I'd look like a right tit in front of those two.
Not the Euros.
November the 22nd. November the 21st, 22 is the first opening Group A game.
Excellent. Good point there. That if you do any of that hooligan shit in Qatar, after serving 30 years in prison,
and we shouldn't joke about it. I mean, they are some proper nasty pieces of work over there in terms of human rights, as it's been well documented. So exactly. So and I hate to say it, but a lot of people are going to find out the hard way what their rules are like. You think it's bad having to wear a mask in England where you ain't seen nothing.
A flare in your bum is going to be the least of your worries, young man.
Yes, indeed. Flaming anus will be very much on the agenda.
Poznan Paul, who was the winner of the other one, said he's going to send us a video, but so far he hasn't done it. So there might not be one. Right, let's go back to the beginning of the awards. Right, it's the hold on, get the appropriate person up. There he is, the lovely Mr. Goonaholic. Because he was always so positive, we named this award after him, the Goonaholic Player of the Season Award. And third place was the Smith, as apparently people are calling him now, with 16%. Then it was KT with 23%, but winning by a country mile with 137 votes and 37%. Bukayo Saka. Yeah, actually. Yeah, so let's look at some of the ones that people did vote for. Kolasinac got 1 vote. Thomas Partey only got 1. Ben Cottrell got 1. Thanks for voting, Ben, or Ben's mum. Calum Chambers got 1. Martinelli only got 1. Louise got 1. Bellerin got 1. Elneny got 1. And Danny Ceballos got 1.
Did nobody vote Anders Limpar? That's disappointing.
No one did Guendouzi. That's what I hear.
Gunnison got 2. Mustafi's got 2. Martinez got 2.
They must have thought that was the worst player of the season.
William got 4.
$4 grand for
I picked the top 3. I had Saka, Tierney, and Smith Rowe. Chris, who did you pick, or don't you remember?
I have to confess, I didn't vote. So,
I'm surprised.
Well, I saw 2 reasons. One, I'm a lazy shit and work got in the way. But the other reason is I don't want to skew the vote. This is about the listeners. This isn't about me. This isn't about you. This is about the listeners. So,
bullshit. Who did you vote for? You look like a decent human being who cares.
Oh, I did it. Let me have a look. Who did I vote for? I voted for the number 1, Bukayo Saka. I then had Emile Smith Rowe, and I had Big Bob Holding.
Yeah,
was my other player. Big Bob Holding. Every single clean sheet we got in the league last season was due to him being in our centre back.
For the record, I would have gone Smith Rowe.
All French players. Guendouzi would have got all 3 votes.
No, I would have gone. Saliba, of course.
Lacazette.
I would have gone Smith Rowe 3rd, Saka 2nd. I would have actually gone Tierney as first. I know he was injured, but he just makes so much of a difference to that side. So he would have been my personal one.
Right, fair enough. Right, let's say goodbye to Mr. Goonaholic.
Bye, Dave.
And let's bring up the other award, who we have named after Steve, because Steve, like me, I don't think he'll mind us saying, he's a little bit grumpy. Always likes to have a moan. So the next award, the Lord Hillwood Worst Player of the Season Award. Again, we could pick 3 people. In 3rd place...
We could pick 43 people, Danny, let's be honest.
My sunburn is really itchy. I've got after sun on it. Oh, right. 3rd place is Danny Ceballos with 13%.
Harsh.
2nd place, which I think is completely unfair, is Runnison with 16% of the votes. But in 1st place, more than double than anyone else, is the Brazilian wonder superstar Willian with 34%. Chris, who would you have voted for if you could have been fucking bothered?
Oi! I've got a life now, all right? I mean, I think Willian would have been in there just purely because of what we thought we might have got and we didn't get. Runnison, I guess you would have to put in there just based upon the fact he did make mistakes. I think Danny Ceballos is harsh. I know he didn't exactly tear up trees in his 2nd loan spell, but I think he's a very good player. I just don't think he was utilised correctly in this particular season.
Well, he single-handedly tried to get us knocked out of the Europa League 3 times.
I mean, that's an achievement in itself.
He failed at it. He couldn't do that right.
I can't think of the rest of our squad. I know this is a bit controversial.
What does that say about Arsenal?
Well, I would actually throw in honourable mentions to Bernd, Leno and our captain, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And that's not to slander either two. I just thought they had really poor seasons for one reason or another.
Number 5.
Yeah.
Aubameyang got 18.
Well, there you go. And again, I know there's injury and illness and everything, but I just felt Alba, even when he was fresh, he just didn't look the part. And I hope that's because he's saving himself for our challenge for 10th place this season instead. But I think it would be fair to say you don't want to say it's like a terrible season. You don't want to slander players, but both of those fell below the standard I would have expected of them, if I'm honest.
How about you, Josh? What did you pick?
I had the number 1, of course. Willian was in there.
Me too.
I mean, it wasn't a signing I wanted to happen. And lo and behold, what happened? An average player had a less than average season. Unsurprising. Then I had one for you, Chris, to remember of players that were in our squad. Shkodran Mustafi.
Oh, the legend that is.
He looked so good last season. Last season, he looked all right. In that FA Cup run, he looked like, maybe Mustafi might be worth a new contract. Then it turned out he was one of the Bundesliga bastards, and that was it. See you later. Copywritten. And finally, I think Danny might disown me at this point. Eddie Nketiah. I thought he was shocking this season. Generally, anytime he came on the field, I wouldn't say it felt like a wasted sub, but you just knew he wasn't going to score.
You wouldn't say it was a wasted sub, but you would probably say it was a wasted sub.
Yes. There's basically, yeah, I'm covering both sides of the fence with that one.
Well, I picked Willian and Ceballos and Kolasinac because there is a player in Kolasinac if you use him properly. It's
I think
left
he
wing
ate him,
back,
didn't
yes. Left back, no. Centre back, no. Huh?
There's a player in Kolasinac if you play him as a left wing back, not as a defender. Anywhere but defence.
Well,
Which is strange that when he went to Schalke, they then played him in central midfield.
Yeah, exactly.
And they got the manager out after about 5 games and got another one in. Still didn't save them. For a team that finished top 3 in the Bundesliga a few years ago regularly, or top 4, ridiculous. The players who got no votes for the worst: Aziz, Odegaard, Mari, Maitland-Niles, Willock, Rowe, Ryan, Cotterill, Martinelli and Balogun all got no votes. So
I will offer out the 3 people that were voted for Bukayo Saka. I will find them and fight them.
Come on.
Well, one of them is
suckers.
50 cups at dawn.
One of them's that bloke who made that tweet last night, clearly. So that's one of them.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
If you do listen to us, guy that made that tweet,
please
fuck
don't.
off. Inevitably, because you are a man, because all the worst people are men.
Well, the best bit was him trying to justify it when he got some replies. That was my favourite bit.
Oh.
And he was sort of saying, "Oh yeah, but he was just really poor, and he's let me down." And God, mate, crawl back into the hole from whence you came, my good man. Yeah. We all make mistakes, but if you're going to make mistakes,
and his mum and dad made some. We know that for sure. But anyway, sorry, Danny, we'll need to move on to the next one.
Okie dokie. The next award, the rest of them don't have names, so we're going to put what's best guests. We'll have put Ellis on here because if we're honest, it's like having a guest on the odd occasion that he turns up.
Who even is that guy? I don't even know who that guy is.
He has announced his thing on. I'm sorry, he put it on Facebook.
Not to the public.
Not to the public.
Yeah, but not
just
to
to
the
his
public.
friends.
Just to his friends.
Well, all I'm going to say
Danny.
is Josh Ellis will now be allowed to wear a dress in public. He's bought a wig off of Chris and he's going full pirate.
And he's learned that you can just tape it to your inner thigh and nobody even knows it's there, which is great.
Yes, or in my case, just when it gets a little bit cold.
Yeah.
So the next award, we're going to have the best guest podcast. Poznan, he said he was going to send us something. He hasn't sent it, but he had one appearance. That's Poznan in My Pants from the Arsenal Vision podcast, a damn fine podcast. If you want to go and listen to it, he got 22% of the votes. Next place was Magic Mike from the Gooners podcast. Quite surprised he didn't try and rig it this year. He only got 11%. Oh, pardon me, FK. He turned up for one show, I think, and the other 3 he was late for. He's got a new podcast out called The Latte Firm. He's doing pretty well. 4th place was Craig from the same old Arsenal. I don't know what all of his people could have made him win that if they wanted, because he's got a massive amount of following. And 5th place was James Real Stokes. So he got 20 votes. I don't know how he managed to do that. He doesn't know 20 people. Yeah, so well done, Paul. If Paul does send me a video before the end of this show, I will do my very best to take it off my phone, put it on the computer, and press play. Who were some of your favourites? Because wasn't it you, Josh, who I said, who do you want to guest? And you said Paul, so we went and got him.
No, that was JB. I said that about Gunner Punner.
Was it you then, Chris?
Chris went and got Paul.
I think I got Paul, yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah, because I messaged him about coming on because I'm a big fan of the Paul. Yeah, he's a good man.
Yeah, and he saw that with the DM that convinced him to come on.
I mean, I tried to. I rubbed it a bit. I stretched it a bit. I made it look more appealing, and eventually we got the job done. So,
got the Hubble telescope to point around the other direction just to make sure it could get into focus.
We got Patrick Moore to narrate it. It was fantastic. It's like an episode of Games Master.
Who were some of your other favourite guests in previous years? Best podcast guest, Lana won it 2 years in a row. Gav won it 2 years in a row before that, and FK won it the 2 years in a row before that. So
FK will be in the journalist ones the way he's going at the moment, won't he, for next season?
He is a merchant.
There's been a few notable. This is non-celebrity, I guess. There's been a few notable ones. I mean, we've mentioned him already, but we can't leave out the Podfather, the man who started the movement, Andrew.
He hasn't joined us last season.
No, well, I mean, to be fair, he's a big fish now, isn't he? So he's probably got a lot less time in his hands. But to be fair to him, every time we've asked him, he's made time for us, hasn't he? I think this year, I don't think we've actually approached him. So, fair play to Andrew. I suppose we have to include Collins as a celebrity now, don't we? I guess.
No, Journo.
Journo.
Yeah.
I mean, we just know him as a fanny, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
Huge fan.
yeah, should have seen the state of him yesterday. My God. After that kebab and the drinks, oh God! Not. You wouldn't catch John Cross behaving like that. Let me tell you, mainly because he's a virgin. But other than that, you wouldn't catch him being like that. But yeah, there's been a few, hasn't there? And did you know the guests I like, Danny? The ones you book with a bit of a leap and a prayer, and you think this guy or girl might be all right, but we're not sure. And then they come on and they just do a really good show, and you go, actually, do you know what? You were bloody good. They're the ones I really enjoy. I think that's how we found Sophie, really, wasn't it? When we first had Sophie on. Yeah,
Jeff said to us, he said, I've got an English woman in the USA who does loads of stuff with LA Galaxy, and she's known for doing stuff like that. Could we get her on? And their internet connection was awful, and so we had her on. And I said, if she sorts out her internet, we'd have her on regularly.
That's what we go through with Lana every time we do a hipsters.
Oh dear.
And also, a slight crossover here, but speaking of the hipsters, Josh and I, we invited a new member onto our team this year.
He's
Tom,
very good.
He's really good, really good. He's only a young guy. He's a Man United fan, but we've all got our faults in life. And he's really, really very good. Really, really good. So, yeah, there's people out there who've just never taken not the jump, but, they may not know how to podcast. They may not be sure how they come across. Give it a go, guys and girls, because, you might just be the next who knows what. You can do your own shows.
But over lockdown, everybody had a fucking go at it.
Oh God, yeah, and there was some bad ones.
Every man and their dog had a podcast.
There was some bloody bad ones.
Oh,
do you know
my mum asked me if she could do. She does an Arsenal podcast. I said, no, mother.
No, I listened to, and this is not a knock because they've done some fantastic work over the years, but I listened to Football Ramble again the other day, and it's the first time I listened to them in a long time. Nothing against the guys, just they moved platforms from Acast that I use to Spotify, I think it is, and I hadn't heard them for ages, and I was just looking around for something to listen to, and I didn't recognise any of them. Like, I think Pete and Marcus are still on it, but there's loads of new people. And
they've flipped them away because they went to daily pods. All four of them couldn't do it, and so I'm sure there's a behind the scenes that one or two of them have fallen out, and you never see them together on a certain show, or something happens, and they've been split, and they kind of do rotations. But some of the people they've got on there are fantastic. I think
some of them are great, and some of them are
Vish is great. Obviously, Brighton and Hove Albion's own Jules Breach.
Yeah. Jules is good.
I think some good people on there, but
there's a few. Definitely.
For the first time in years, we've had an entire year at ABW, and no one's fallen out of anybody in the WhatsApp. We've got 12 people in the WhatsApp group, and we're doing one podcast a week from now on.
I think we all fell out with Ellis at some point.
I mean, any group with Ellis in it, ultimately, I mean, we're both on the same lines here, so
and also, Danny, you fell out with football in general.
And I'm in
doing
a group
16 shows in a month once.
and I'm in a group with Canadian Jeff, who basically just apologises all day long, every day long, because he's Canadian. So there must have been something for him to apologise for every day. What a man! What a man that man is.
I have this ready just in case anyone mentions his name.
Fantastic.
That's what it's all about.
I feel like we should all stand up or something, or toss maple syrup.
I hope they had an excellent Canada Day. What was it, 2 weeks ago?
Jeff did. I can confirm. Jeff had a wonderful time.
He was very, very drunk.
Very drunk. Yes. Jeff and I WhatsApp voice message each other pretty much every day. It's bordering on a relationship at this point. It's fantastic. I love it.
Me and OG have this thing. We go, hello, OG, over. This is Danny, over. Are you reading?
breaker, 1, 2.
And he goes, hello, Danny, over. This is OG receiving, over.
I wish to ask you something about these awards. I wish to ask you something about and I'm sure we'll come on to ABW Member of the Year or whatever the award is.
I don't know that anymore. Dave was the last to win it.
End it. Rightly way to end it. Who's this Jeff Arsenal character? Is he still around, or
Never.
Is he? No?
He was last seen skulking around outside the front gates of Wimbledon, and then later in the day Wembley. So that's the last time anyone saw him.
By the bin. I was watching Chloe Khan's Instagram story the other day. I was expecting Jeff to pop up in the middle of Savoy and go, hello. And there's no reason at all why I'm following her Instagram. I swear it's nothing to do with her.
Under lockdown, he has been a very not busy. Does corporate hospitality.
Hospitality.
If you're a horse and you want tickets to something, but he does corporate hospitality, and he's had nothing for 18 months, and so now he's a busy man.
Did he not get married as well, or did I imagine?
Yeah, he did get married.
There you go.
So he's a younger lady.
Yeah,
it's far too good for him.
And he's got
kitchen done. New kitchen.
His kitchen done. Yeah. I think he's got 2 daughters, Jeff, hasn't he? Is it 2 daughters? I think it's 2. I want to say 2.
No, 2 or 3 kids. I don't know. Where's Jeff, isn't he? He's a Romeo.
I think they're older. They're older kids, aren't they? Like where he hangs out with them and that. But what a man! What a man! I hope he comes back on this year because he's been a noticeable voice missing. I
hope he doesn't leave because at the moment he's the person who doesn't reply to messages the most. Second place is you, so you'll be last place. No, Jeff said he's never going anywhere.
Kind of a big deal around here, you know. Josh is not far behind me. Like eventually, you'll have to start paying for our time. That's how these things go, you know.
Yeah, just as we've just coughed up 82 quid for SoundCloud for the next 12 months because I didn't renew it straight away. We got a 10% discount on the 90 quid for paid £81. A 10% welcome back discount. So if anybody's got SoundCloud, don't renew as soon as it runs out, then you'll get a 10% discount. So it's 81 quid we've just coughed up. So
and don't pay for your TV license. It's a rip-off.
Mainly thanks to another wonderful Canadian who he knows who he is if he's listening. He threw a load of money at us last season. So,
what a gentleman that man
mate of ours.
And he works bloody hard for his money, let me tell you.
He does. It's yes, always dodgy weather, and he's always going. Talking about dodgy people, the next award is put a right, wrong, and up in the top corner. The right, wrong, and award is the Mesut.
Forza John Welshio.
The man who is constantly itchy from one end or the other. So it's the Mesut Ozil Arsenal Villain of the Season award. Everybody got to pick one person. In 6th place with 3 votes, Unai Emery. I had that. Only put him in there because of the semi-final. Then it was Mikel Arteta with 8 votes. Arsenal themselves with 12 votes. COVID-19 with 15 votes. Wuhan FC China with 18 votes. I'm running out of ideas. VAR got 22 votes, but with 80 votes and 51% of the share, Stan Kroenke. Kronk. The Kronk he won it.
The Kronkio.
Anyone disagree with that?
I didn't pick Stan.
What did you pick?
I picked Arsenal. We were our biggest enemy of last season. If you could tell me Arsenal weren't the problem.
And I would put our manager up there alongside it, to be fair. As many good things as he's done, he needed to take a little bit more responsibility for last year. But
I'd say VAR was I wouldn't say VAR was a close second. I'd say the PGMOL.
The referee.
Why did you suggest that when I was asking for bloody nominees?
I gave you the fucking name. I told you to call it the Mesut Ozil Arsenal Villain of the Season.
Whatever.
A name to the thing.
At least you joined in, unlike some of us who just couldn't be fucking bothered to do anything.
I think we're all surprised that Matteo Guendouzi didn't win this one because, you know.
Matteo Guendouzi with his winding up of Mope, which resulted in, Mope taking out Leno. Messi wouldn't have had the cup he won last night.
Martinez wouldn't have got the run he did.
Exactly.
Oh, don't mention the Emmy word. I can't deal with that. No.
They were lucky if it went to penalty shootouts because he fills most of the goal. Fat fuck.
Most clean sheets in the Premier League last season. We'll just move on.
For a happy thing, we will put Carl there because Carl is always a ray of sunshine. The next award is Goal of the Season. We all got to pick one. This is always a troublesome one, so we'll only do the top 3. 3rd place, Saka in the 4-0 win away at West Brom, got 14%, 20 votes. 2nd place was the much maligned Pepe in the 3-1 home win over West Ham. We should play West Brom every week because that's the top 3. Pepe 3-1 against West Brom. You got 15% of the votes and 22 votes. But the winner by a country mile was Kieran Tierney. West Brom 0, Arsenal 4. 49%, 72% of the votes. That's when he sold more dummies than Mothercare and ran down the left wing, shimmy shammy and banged it in. Is that the goal, Josh?
Yes, the one in the snow.
Oh, I love that. I've probably got that picture somewhere. You carry on talking. I'm going to go and find it and put it up. I love it.
Chris, the other ones we had in there was Xhaka's goal against Chelsea in the 3-1 win. Elneny from I think from downtown, I think is what they would have said in the
NBA
US.
Jam. Yeah,
from downtown against Dundalk. Odegaard against Olympiacos. Also Elneny was the goal he got against Olympiacos. Or I think this one must have been for you. The Cassette, as I believe his English name is, against Sheffield United in a 3-0 win. I can't even remember that goal.
Well, actually, all of those answers are incorrect. The correct answer was the goal of the season in Europe last year, which was Irvin Cardona's incredible scissor kick volley for Brest against Dijon in Ligue 1. So, unfortunately, you're all wrong, I'm afraid. But that's all I have to say on the matter.
Was it that
game?
Yeah,
that's the one.
That was the one.
I think so.
Yes, that's the one.
Couldn't find it because I had that down in the 2-0 win. It wasn't snowing in the 2-0, was it?
I don't know.
No, it wasn't. Can confirm.
No, I went with, as you asked, Danny, I went for Elneny against Olympiacos because it was the one I said was missing and it was his better goal from longer range, but everyone seemed to forget it.
Too. I enjoyed that one. Yeah.
I think it's his first touch. He comes onto the pitch and just drills it into the bottom corner.
And I mean,
goes,
who doesn't enjoy a Mohamed Elneny smiling face reeling away after scoring a belter? I mean, every goal he scored for Arsenal's been brilliant, hasn't it? One in the new camp and these. Yeah, he's just a wonderful human being, isn't he? And,
he had that time where Wenger told him off sternly from taking a shot from outside the box.
Yeah,
he did that against Barcelona. That's why he wasn't so prolific.
He has the Alex Song sort of shooting thought process, isn't it? It's like, don't shoot. And then when he does, something comes out of nowhere and you go, oh, okay, that's fine. Okay. But I think I would agree with Josh on that one. That was my goal of the season as well.
And Danny, for you?
I picked Tierney. Yeah,
okay,
the man can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely fantastic.
With his wrong foot as well, wasn't it? Right foot, I think it was.
Yeah, it was the right foot.
Honourable mention for Bernd Leno's own goal against Wolves. That was also fantastic. Everton. Everton. That was a stunning finish from 3 yards through his legs. That was good. Good effort.
Right, the next award is another cheeky. Can't use that one. Let's use. Let's have a picture of Nick up there because
Nicky.
Poor old Nicky boy. The next award is the Game of the Season award. Third place, Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 4 with 7%. Second place, Arsenal 2, Spurs 1 with 23%. But nearly 50% of the votes, so 49%, is Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1. What do you think to that?
I mean, I went for the Slavia Prague game, personally, as our best game of the season. I think Chris might go with the funny one, which would be our last game of the season, just generally, because then we didn't play after that.
No, I was just going to say any win over Spurs is always that result. Any win against Spurs, it's some might say it's all or nothing. So, see what I did there?
I did.
I do this for free, guys. I do this for free.
You can tell, Chris.
I'm wasted here. Seriously, I need a new contract. Danny, we need to talk.
Yes, we do. I'll just give you all the money that our Canadian listener gave us all, and that'll keep you quiet. I'll keep you in hair buns for a week.
I'll get me a new pair of running shoes. I'm fine with that.
Yes, lovely.
Not that I need them because,
Best pro celebrity was Kevin Campbell, who came on and accepted the award. Best journalist was Sophie with 43%, and second place was Scoop Collins with 36%. And now we're going to put up ABW.
Just before you do, if I could be serious for a minute, fair play, Mr. Simon Collins. Like I don't want to get all mushy and all, I don't want to tongue his well-coiffed quiff. But
I wonder where that was going.
Fair play to the guy. I still remember when he was kind of a shy, upcoming guy who wrote for sort of the local papers, if you will. Make him sound like he's like Oliver from the.
You remember him when he was at uni doing a podcast at university? That's where we found him. Exactly. Obscurity.
And fair play to the bloke. Like he is carved out, and like genuinely, I'm not just saying this because he's one of us and he's our mate. He writes some bloody good stuff. Like genuinely, the man is really talented.
He doesn't John Cross it at all.
He doesn't. And you go
Arsenal to sign Neymar.
And And you go on other podcasts where I think who's the other well-connected journalist? Is it James Benge? I think it is. And there's a couple of other Arsenal journalists. They've all mentioned Simon by name in other podcasts. Some would say even bigger podcasts than ours. I know that doesn't exist, but and they've all said other up and coming journalists, and they've mentioned him by name. There's a reason for that. He puts in the time, he's put in the graft, and he still goes out on the beer. He's got a good work-life balance. But I think Josh will probably agree with me. Fair play to Simon, and I think it's only fair we give him a little nod of appreciation for his work. So, he's always stayed loyal to us.
He's certainly got to the level now where he can spend most of his afternoon out on the golf course, and who knows what he's actually doing out there, spying on certain players and agents.
How
there's a helicopter down on the 9th green, and Minarola comes out and gives him all the information he needs, and then flies off into the sunset.
Speaking of golf clubs, there's mine. Finally got them back. There they are.
What from? Cash converters?
No, I used to be a very good golfer, I'll have you know.
Oh, yes, as a young man. Yeah, I remember when you were about 12, weren't you?
Yeah, he could get it right through the little windmill.
Yeah, and out the other side. And I could get it in the crocodile's mouth. That was amazing. No, I was a very handy golfer. I played off scratch once upon a time when I was 14. And now I'm just fat and hairy. And
that means you go around the course in the allotted number of shots.
Yeah.
Not like Josh, who's 200 over.
200.
Well,
never knowingly finished a course.
I certainly get my money's worth with golf.
Because you go around there on your mountain bike.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You've got a decent swing, Josh. To be fair, I think so.
Someone said something like that. I think.
Swing, not the swing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We've put Richard up there, our very own Cactus Cash, for the penultimate award, the hashtag ABW Fantasy Premier League Football 2021. The winner. Hope if any of these people are watching, I'd love to hear from you. The winner is Henry Powell, Little Bit Handbrake. Second place is Harris Ahmed with Ramadan Ramsey. And in third place, Alex Pliss with Nothing Matters. And then the final award, we're going to put Femster up in the top right-hand corner, and I'll let you guess why it's wrong. First place, hold your powder. Keep your powder dry, Josh. First place in the ABW Members Fantasy Premier League. That's just people who've been on ABW that are friends of ours. First place with Femi with Arteta Gonna Go Grey. Second place is Ellis with FC Abue. Third place...
We'll get there, Chris. We'll get there.
We'll get there. Third place... Josh with Guardiola's Cone Men. But Josh, there's a little asterisk next to Femi's name. It says Josh is the moral winner as Femi and Ellis used Spurs players. So I'm going to take down Femi's picture and I'm going to put up the true winner, the People's Champion. Accept your award, Josh. Go.
I mean, it's been great. I think this is the second season in a row that I've won it by default, purely because I've refused to play. Because everybody put Kane in their squad or Son for at least 1 week.
God.
And I stuck true. I lost a lot of other leagues, and Ellis pays money towards it. And he had arguably two of the best assets in fantasy football in Son and Kane. And he only beat me by 16 points. So,
but he definitely didn't beat you because the rules were very clear.
The rules are very clear that if you have any Spurs player in your fantasy team, unfortunately, it is null and void.
Automatically.
And I know.
Collins did it as well.
Yeah.
Let's not hide from. Yeah.
And I don't want to say I am the necessarily always the person that sees it straight away and calls it in to be the little grass, but somebody's got to do it, and it's got me 2 trophies. So,
and you rightly should call that out. That's
it was Jeff last season who won it. He won it 2 seasons in a row, but we know what last season he was cheating. I won it in 17-18. Fuck knows how, and Collins won it the 2 years before that.
I think we should. I'm going to call it on air now. I think we should raise the stakes this year.
Well, then Femi
actually. You're going to do it.
Femi left it. He said, I asked him why he left the members fantasy football, and Femi said because I've got Spurs players. So at least he did the decent thing, which
he took his coat and left.
He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he lied about it a couple of times. So
he was too busy pulling his Kane shirt over his head and mooning us.
Can't get the staff. I think this year we should monetize it. Because we're all about the dollar bills, y'all. But when there's money on it, as the the tag once said, that it matters more when there's money on it. It's true. So I think this year we should, we're not going to bleed people dry, but I think we should make it £2 per entry, and you can only have one entry. So £2, right? And one of those pounds goes into a pot.
You mean the ABW members one, not the rest of them, because there's about 3,000 in there.
No. I'm putting this out to the ABW family, right?
Yeah, good luck.
No, well, because it's £2, right? But here's the caveat. So they all put £2 in. £1 of that, £1 of their two goes into the overall pot, okay? And the winner of that overall pot wins that total amount of money, right?
We're not allowed to do anything like that. That's gambling.
It's not gambling.
It is. You would get
£2.
If we could do it between ourselves in the ABW one, but with that other one, the amount of organisation and then plus you'd have to go and check to see as you Spurs players. So I think maybe all the ABW ones, all put 20 quid in each. I'll look after it. I've still got all the money for Steve and Dave's plaques. I've got like £600 in my PayPal account waiting. I'm going to have to organise that, Josh. I've been emailing them. And as Josh says, he sees the emails and all that. But we can't do it with the listeners, dear listener, because that's against the law. But the ABW quiz,
I tried. But yeah,
20 quid in each quiz. But then
we'll do it in the listeners. We'll do it in the ABW one then, because I want to take it seriously this year, and because I pretty much finish bottom or just below you, Danny, which is usually bottom. So I want to go hard this year.
And maybe we could give half the money to Gooners versus Cancer, Mike's lot, and the other half.
Probably going to have to pick players that aren't French, though, Chris. So that's what's held you back in previous seasons.
Yeah, I've struggled. Are there other players that aren't French? Are any good? I'm not sure.
Well, I won't have.
Got a couple.
I don't have Spurs, Chelsea, Man United, Man City, or Liverpool in my team. And no point do I use any of those scumbags. Try doing it like that.
Yeah, I think the trouble is if you do that, you're going to get no points.
The ABW team, Chris, has only got ex-Arsenal players in it.
I saw
That's why it finished rock bottom.
Exactly. I do.
Gibbs let us down.
I do think there should be certain rules, and maybe Josh and I will get together and say there's certain players. I mean, like anybody who's got Bruno Fernandes in their squad should be immediately jettisoned into space as well. So, Or what's that cricket lead called? The Alioski. Anyone who picks him, they should be gone as well.
He's all right. He's fine.
He's gone. That's all right. So he's gone.
They weren't happy about that.
No. So yeah, there's certain shithouses that shouldn't be part of it. But no, I think we should take it seriously this year, and let's see. And we'll give the money to charity. Whoever wins, why not?
Jolly good. I'll just have a quick look at my phone and see if Paul is because he's in America. See if he sent us a video.
Why did I think he was in Poland? Why did I think that?
Doing the Poznan was the Polish team, wasn't it?
That'll be why. Yeah.
So, did you do your acceptance speech, Josh?
Poznan.
You didn't you?
Oh, sorry. I thought it was.
No, Poznan's a place.
Poznan is. Legia Warsaw fans did it as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's we're all done.
Yeah, I did my acceptance speech.
Quick picture of Jeff. Just put that up there. Prove that's not what Jeff looks like.
It looks more like me, to be honest.
Who haven't we got? Oh, we haven't got pictures of James and Jock have joined ABW for next season. Just as we're going back to one non-live podcast a week rather than doing all that. That's why all us lot. I'm doing something with Sophie in the Highbury squad as well, which was probably not football related because I'm terrible. So we're doing one podcast. We might do the odd live show, but most of the time it's easier. I know you all miss us, but it's easier for whoever's hosting it not have to read all your comments and join in. And it might do the odd ABW live show if we beat like Spurs 7-0, then we might milk it and come on. But
I think we could probably stretch to like one a month, couldn't we?
Possibly.
Whoever's free, we can just get together and have a bit of a round table. But we kind of made a decision, didn't we, between us all that the live shows. Don't get me wrong; it's not that we didn't enjoy them, and I don't care what anyone says. We started them. Fight me if you think otherwise. We did, but the post.
The very first one, I got the hump and left you and Jeff Hullafan to get on with it because I was getting annoyed with it.
They were so bad.
We got our £10 cameras.
Oh, they were, and the microphones were awful. God, my little headset. But we not the live shows, but the post-match shows is the ones I'm on about, and it's just a lot of work. And fair play, Josh did a huge amount of them last year, and credit to Jason before him, he did a lot prior, and it's just a lot of work.
I mean,
I
Jace
started it with Jason. Yeah,
that's one of the reasons me and Jace fell out, because we were just arguing about that and other things, because we both refused to say that we were wrong. And before that, you did it, and it nearly broke you. And this season, it nearly broke me. And if it was either me or Josh and Carl doing it, and you can't do all those games like that anymore. So maybe the season after next, you might bring it back and a little bit more organised. But at the moment, we've got 12 people in the group, because we, like I say, Jock and James have joined us, part of ABW. They're in there. There's 12 people. And I think we should be able to scrape one podcast a week between 12 of us.
What we're basically saying is, when we're not shit, we'll do post-match podcasts. But until we have a guaranteed of not shitness, we're not going to bother, because it's too bloody painful to talk about our latest home defeat to Burnley with 7 men. So yeah, hopefully, yeah, we're looking. I think we're all sort of looking forward to the new season, are we? I mean, I'm skeptical. But I'm ready to be proved wrong, but I don't know,
Oh, don't worry, Chris. We're opening it with Brentford. What could go wrong?
What could possibly go
team
wrong?
On a Friday night, 31 days ago.
Under the lights. Do you know what it reminds me of? And Danny will remember this game. Danny, do you remember Forest at home under the lights when? Oh, I want to say Mark Overmars scored, I think. So back in that era, we played Forest in their Labatt's yellow kit, and we won 2-1. I'm sure, Marco, look it up, because I'm going to look like an idiot otherwise. I'm sure we won 2-1, and it was a really tight game, and it was under the lights at Highbury, and it was, I want to say, 97, somewhere in that era, and it was one of the opening games of the season. It just has that feel of or Sheffield Wednesday, Patrick Vieira's debut. One of those kind of nights, early season. Not that we're having a summer in the UK at the moment, dear listener, because it's actually all right here at the moment, but it's been pissing with rain all day. But yeah, those kind of misty end of summer nights. What did you say? When did you say the season starts, Josh? Under a month now?
Yeah, 13th. It's 30 days. 31 days.
Was it the 8th of March 1997? We won 2-0 with 2 goals from Bergkamp.
No. I'm sure it was Overmars. I might be wrong. I'm going to look it up while you...
I'll look at the season before that then. That was 96, 95, 96. I'll have a look at 96. That was 96, 97.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it was a bit further back then. I just remember Forest had the Labatt.
Was it 1-1?
I just remember that.
No, that was Pratt scoring, and Kevin Campbell scored for Forest.
No, I don't think it was that one. I'll look it up. I will find it. It's going to be dead otherwise. But,
it won't be too hard, because Forest haven't spent that much time in the Premier League.
Oh, hang on. Here you go. I think it might have been this one. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 1. Jeff Thomas scored for Forest.
What year was this?
Mark Overmars scored for Arsenal. 1998, Monday the 17th of August. And I believe it was the opening day of the season in 97-98.
Oh, it's the second game of this. Oh, yeah, first game we just beat Man City 3-0 in the Charity Shield.
There you go.
So what's the point you were making now? It's taking us 5 minutes to find it.
Just that it reminds me of an opening game of the season under the lights, and that was the game that stands out in my mind, which I'm now going to YouTube just to remember the goals. But yeah, it's just one of those games that I just remember it being early start of the season, and it just stands out. I don't know why. It just doesn't. And Brentford under the lights, it's got a bit of a feel about it, hasn't it? London derby and a new team. And I imagine you've seen a bit more than I have, Josh, but I think they'll probably come to the Emirates and try and play. I don't think they're going to be a team that will sit there and shithouse their way through the Premier League.
Always played in blue that game.
Did they? Well, maybe I'm wrong then.
They had Labatt's on it.
Well, there you go.
We will, we'll certainly see. I think Brentford will be interesting, but I'll need to double check on who in their squad will be back in time, because as commentators love to say, there are a couple of Danes that were involved who are in the Brentford squad. Obviously, Ivan Toney will be there, but we shall see. It depends who comes back for Arsenal and what our lineup even looks like, because I'm probably expecting it's Pablo, Mari and Holding.
Good times. Oh, yeah, of course, because Gabriel could be injured, isn't he? Yeah.
He is injured. He's not going to
3 months, wasn't it?
He's not going to the Olympics.
3 months. I didn't see what the injury was. What's he done?
Done his knee. I think he's got tendonitis somewhere in his leg.
Didn't he have that and then he injured it as well after? There's a combination of both.
I have no idea. All I know is he's not going to the Olympics. But Martinelli is now, I think.
But by that point, we'll have £50 million worth of Ben White, right? So
yeah, it'd be fun.
Because what we needed was another centre back, so that's good.
Well, we just needed one not to be a little bitch and decide to live in south of France again for another.
Don't you press my button, Store? Don't you?
So I've pressed it. There we go.
You've got nuclear.
This is what the hybrid squad can wait for. They don't know what they're in for in terms of
into the future.
When they know, they'll just go. Did you realise that Josh and Chris both have the nuclear codes for each other? We'll hit them at some point.
At any given moment.
What happened to the Spotify thing? That's gone a little bit quiet, hasn't it, Mr. Eck?
Well, I think he's sort of finally realised. Well, somebody was saying on one of the podcasts the other day, Patrick Vieira can't legally be part of that franchise now, can he? Because he manages a Premier League club. It's conflict of interest. So
I don't want to be all big-headed and say "told you so," but it was at any time a Premier League job would come up for any of those three involved, they would have been up quicker than a rat up a drain pipe to go and take over. They were never going to be full-time. That illusion or delusion of a board sitting with. We've got an Invincible on the board already. But another three sitting there. It was never going to happen.
Here's a question for you. The Alan Davies podcast do like a bit of a quiz. Arsenal Premier League players who played in the Premier League and then gone to manage in the Premier League.
How many
can you think of?
Wow. Well, there's Patrick Vieira is the obvious one.
Yep.
I'll go Mikel Arteta.
Oh,
that's a very obvious one. Pierre-Emerick is managed at Monaco, so he doesn't count. Managed in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's not a trick question.
No, I'm just trying to think of who. And Paul
Tony
managed the lower league. Yeah, he was
I'm
reserved.
not sure.
I think Pompey might have been League One.
Maybe Tony Adams did in. I'll have a look at that. I was thinking about it as I was falling asleep
as well. Oh God, that's it's one of those that if we had time, you could probably work it out. But
Adam George Arsenal assistant Harry Knight was Preston Kevin the first season finished 9th in the Premier League, the highest. Adam was appointed caretaker manager of Portsmouth in October 2008.
Okay.
Following Harry Redknapp going to Spurs, so we need to find out where were Portsmouth in October 2008.
I think they were bottom of the Premier League.
This is the content you all hope for, listeners.
I think they were bottom of the Premier League.
So it'd be 2008, 2009. Were they?
I don't think Harry went. I thought Harry jumped ship before they got relegated.
Yeah, they were in the Premier League. They finished 14th that season.
There we go.
So Tony Adams goes on the list.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Frenchman, Chris.
Yeah. Well,
Remy Gard.
Remy Gard at Villa.
Villa.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's
all coming back to me. Oh, sorry. Yeah. That's the only other one I can think of, to be honest. I can't think of any others. Can you say I can't think of any others, to be fair?
I think I got up to 6 last night. We're up to 5, and I can't remember what the rest of them are. The listeners are probably shouting at their fruit-based devices.
Almost certainly.
It's going to be people from your era, I think, because there's no one I can think of more recent.
David Platt left to go to Forest, but they weren't in the Premier League at the time. Yeah, so
it's working who played in the early years of the Premier League.
Can think of any more? We've got 4 there. It is it's a doozy of a pickle, as some would say. The people aren't going anywhere. So
David O'Leary's to Leeds. Has he played in the Premier League? That's the question.
Yeah, he did.
Did he? Where's David O'Leary then?
There was someone else.
Yeah, that makes sense. George Graham?
No, he never played in the Premier League.
No, of course he didn't.
So what we need to do is go and have a look at club career.
It's that horrible little cusp of...
Yes.
It's the 92-93 season, isn't it? It's who was the Arsenal lineups then, and that's where you probably find most of them.
The
Yeah, I'm just having a-
who's who of histories.
Yeah.
Because then there might have been a sneaky player manager or a caretaker manager.
Oh, there is a player manager.
Yeah, there wasn't there?
There's the
him.
other one. I remember there was another one that I got last night. Managed Blackburn.
Tim Sherwood didn't play in the Premier League for us, did he?
Oh, no, it says
Oh,
here he was-
God,
oh, no,
so bad.
no, he didn't. I was thinking
No.
John Jensen, but he was only assistant manager.
Oh, yeah.
John Jensen, really?
Yeah, Blackburn assistant manager in 2011, but not for long.
Does that count? I suppose it does. But yeah, well, okay.
What about Steve Keane? Do you ever make an
didn't.
appearance for us?
No.
No, I don't think so.
He
I
was
think,
in the academy, wasn't
Viv
he?
Anderson was
Stuart-
another one who was
Stuart-
close.
Stuart Robson. No. God, he's.
I don't think there is any. I've gone all the way back to
Ooh, I've
years
just
ago.
seen the official leak of our new home kit. That's fair. I like that a lot. Sorry.
It looks nicer that it's when
It
it's
looks
on.
far nicer in the flesh. Yeah, the blue actually is a lot nicer blue as well. I like that a lot. It's very Ajax, but that's not a bad thing.
There was another one that I definitely had last night, but now I can't think of it.
That's totally stumped me, that question. I can't think of. It's one of those that you'll hear it and go, "Oh yeah, it's obvious," but I can't think of. No, I can't think of them. Well, if you know, dear listener, write in.
If there are any more, but otherwise, I think we have
There's any
exhausted
listeners
the
left.
entire list.
Yeah, I can't think of any more. Anyway, let's move on because we'll be here all night.
Who's tapping?
It's just me with the mouse. Sorry, I've got a silent mouse now. Did you know?
It wasn't
So did
fucking
I.
silent then.
I bought this little
No,
beauty. It's wonderful.
It's right
Only
from China.
14 quid.
This was only
It
7,
was.
so I win. Yeah.
I like my
Comparing
mice like I
mice.
like my ladies. A bit chunky.
Fat and chunky. Yeah.
And ginger. But this isn't ginger.
Not there's anything
Ginger
wrong with
with
that. I don't want to be accused of not being woke or whatever.
No place for woke. The W
No.
in ABW doesn't mean woke.
No.
It means
So for wanker.
Wonderland.
Wan-Bissaka. Bergkamp Wan-Bissaka.
Should the wonderful listeners be expecting a football hipsters anytime soon from you lazy fuckers?
I mean, it's like we said at the start of the Euros. The plan was to do one after each round, and we're all
When
working
France got knocked
people.
out.
France got knocked out. I had a cry and I got upset, and I was like, "No, I'm not potting again. Fuck
Yeah.
off." And then it
then-
obviously didn't come home, which was hilarious. So now we move on. So you want to pick at me, Josh? I'll come right back at you. Bring it on, bitch.
I mean,
But
yeah, there was no way you were podding the night after we just beat Germany anyway. Let's put it that way.
No.
We were very keen to pod straight after that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I did say that we'd arranged one, and I couldn't make it. And I said, "Could you?" And then I think some people dropped out. And it's
And then I
just,
couldn't make it.
and then you couldn't make it. It's just finding people who can A, press buttons, and B, are available for shows. So I would like us to do a look back at the Euros kind of pod. But I think if we're going to do it, it'll be within the next week. So hopefully we'll get together and have a little natter about thoughts post tournament, etc. and so on. And it'd be good to have Josh and Tom have a chat about England. I really want to get Joel on to talk Spain because I'm fascinated by what's going on with them. But we'll see what stars we can make align, and we'll meet in the middle. Of course, having the massive Fanny himself to talk about Italy's win, John, who's very much an Italian follower, would be also quite good to do. So we'll see what we can do, but we won't promise, because then if we don't promise, we can't be held accountable for letting people down if we can't make it. So
you can't sue us.
No. What are we doing in ABW land, Danny? Are we going to grace the listeners with more of this shite throughout the summer, or are we just going to stay quiet and hide away?
Unfortunately, yes, we will be doing some stuff. We are going to do ABW meets hopefully the Bruised Banana Boys.
Mm-hmm.
One of my I don't listen to any podcasts at the moment. None of the I've listened to maybe one of Tom's, one of the Hybrid Squad, and a couple of Gooners podcasts. But other than that, I'm watching absolutely nothing because I don't want to hear any of it. So it's going to be the Bruised Banana Boys. Not another Arsenal podcast. Going to do ABW meets them.
I'd be happy to slide in with you on the Bruised Banana pod actually if you want somebody to do it, because they're a good group. I like their guys. Yeah, listen to that stuff.
I've almost got to the point where I can recognise who is who on there, so that's always a good sign when you're listening to an audio podcast and you can recognise who people are by hearing their voices.
Yes.
I always think that's a good thing. I'm currently up to 95, 96, and I still haven't found another Premier League Arsenal manager. What else are we going to do? Darren Berry has got a new book out. He has sent us, Josh, if you want to go and have a look at the ABW. Oh, no, I might have sent it to my email. He sent a what's it called? A book, an e-version of the book before launch. Just a diary of another season, which was really good, the last one. So we're going to do a review. Jace usually does those, so one of us, the others, are going to have to do that now. As I don't read, Josh, and you're a reader, you can do it.
I can't read.
Hey, there we go.
Colour it in. That'll do. Now get Darren on and talk about that. Was there anyone else I said that we'll do an ABW meets with? I think there might be one other podcast. I can't remember. I'd like to do one with Same Old Arsenal USA. We've got Stan. Cool. You've got bloke in USA.
That narrows it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 320 million
bloke
people.
In America, that bloke.
I can't remember his name. Anyway, you've got Bearded Gooner on there. You've got Stan. You've got the bloke who I swear is Australian, who says he isn't Australian, he's American. And Glenn. I'm thinking Jim. Glenn in his I'll watch their shows and interact with them because they do them late enough for me to be able to join in. So I might do one of those, but there's usually too many people. We only need, I think, 3 or 4 is the most we can do, and 2 of us. Otherwise, it gets a bit crowded.
You need to tap up Paul and see if we can get a what do you call it? An Arsenal. I was going to say Arsenal Fan TV. Then Christ, don't know. You mentioned them earlier. What are they called?
Arsenal Vision.
Thank you,
Elliot and Clive.
It would be very good to get those 3 together with a couple of us. That would be kind of fun.
There, isn't there? There's 4 of them.
Tim's very good. Yeah, Tim's quite a busy boy, so I don't know whether we would be able to get him. But I'd be happy to chat the shit with Elliot and Clive and Paul if they're available, or 2 of the 4 or whatever it may be.
Heard Elliot on with Mike and Andy on the Gooners podcast, and I agreed with everything he said. A little bit negative, but that's what I like. And he didn't speak at 100 mile an hour, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah,
that's part of his shtick.
I think he, as a host, he has to get it all quick out. And I found it really hard to transition from host into guest on pods. I must admit, when I'm doing FFW and then I have to transition into guest, it's sometimes quite hard to switch over. But yeah, I think we're all about the collabs, aren't we? We don't have any airs or graces. We'll pod with anybody, really, won't we? So, we'll do that. And I'm very much still. For those of you fans of video gaming, we've got a few more FIFA people that we're going to have a chat to about the new game at some point, probably in more September time because that's when it'll be released. But I think Josh and Ellis were talking about coming on one of those with me as well. So
and Stefan, of course. And
Stefan, yeah. So
we might Pro Club's captain.
We might start sort of an ABW. I'd like to call it ABW 16-bit if we make a series because it just sounds fun. But yeah, maybe we can do sort of a little game.
Well, they're not 16-bit anymore, are they?
No, that's exactly
16-bit was a Mega Drive.
Exactly, the golden era of the games console, as everyone knows. Sure. So yeah, that would be good. We'll try and get some of that sorted out. And I've got a couple of quite big content creators that might be interested in having a chat with me. So work in progress. I'm pulling some strings behind the scenes.
Okay, I think if that's all that's done, there's only one more thing. We as ABW, sadly, wrong one. I've put it in the wrong section, haven't I? Alan Miller, Arsenal goalkeeper. Everyone remembers him from the early days of the Premier League. There you go. That's his picture. Happier times there. Alan Miller with Alan Smith celebrating after winning yet another title back in the day. Sadly passed away in June this year. He was only 51 years old. So sad for someone to go so young. I've not found out how or why it happened or anything like that. It's not really any of our business, but it gets to the point. It's a bit sad when people that are about my age, when they pass away. There's been him, there's been Rocastle, there's been Reiss, and there's been Arturo Lupoli, who was a young player at Arsenal.
And Paul Mariner over the weekend as well.
Yeah, Paul Mariner. Yeah, never saw him play. Magnificent, one of the legends of Leicester with Alan Brazil and all those other ones.
Don't forget Argyle. He was very famous down here for Plymouth Argyle as well.
Yeah. So it's sad. So it's always shocking when you hear something. You think, how can someone pass away at the age of 51? Someone who was loved by all the teams that he played for. So all of our thoughts go out to Alan. Not it's really going to help him now, but he might be watching. The world might work like that. He might be watching now and giving us a little smile and saying, actually, I think I tweeted him a couple of times asking him if I wanted to come on. So at least he didn't have the indignity of showing his face on here. This has one bright thing. Any other news from you two before we shut up and piss off?
Got a little plug to do in a minute, but other than that, I'll let Josh go first on this one.
No, I don't know what we're doing with ABW. We definitely didn't do a transfer announcement because we actually signed a player. I forget that. Nuno Tavares, or I think that's what he said. Tavares.
If you're Mike, it's two badges. That's what he's calling him.
And I noticed he is training alongside the Smith today. So
he's immediately in the squad, and I don't know if we will be doing a conga in the next couple of days, but I am expecting us to also gain another centre back.
The Laconga Conga.
I heard through the grapevine today that's done. They're just waiting to announce it. So apparently,
they just had to. Well, I suppose should we quickly cover the fact that there will be a TV crew following everything that we do.
Oh, God, on the scale of bad ideas. I mean,
at least it wasn't last season.
That's the good thing.
Oh, can you imagine? First of all, good evening. God bless you, But do you know what? Actually, apart from the downsides, and I'll let Josh have a say on this as well in a sec.
That's very generous of you.
That sounded really bad, didn't it? Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like that.
If you're good, Josh, you can say something. When Chris
if you're a good boy, I'll let you speak as well. But no, the only thing I wanted to say about it was just the there was a really good point raised by somebody else on another podcast, and I think it was Gunner Blog said that the one thing that goes in this favour. And let's be honest, we all know this is about money. That's blatantly what this is about. But the one thing that makes me think, okay, maybe they know what they're doing is Mikel Arteta has been through this before with Man City. He knows exactly what's coming in. He was the assistant manager then. He's in a lot of the shows.
I didn't watch any of them.
Yeah.
The only one I watched is Sunderland.
Everyone was going mental when because Arteta was like the standout.
He was that was his audition, wasn't it?
Basically that was his running tape.
So what we're going to esteem from that is Albert Stuyvenberg, whatever his name is going to be the next Arsenal manager at the end of this show. That's what's clearly, or Colin or Gary Lewin coming back, he'll end up as our manager. But I think that's the only, not positive, but that's the only sort of thing I would say. Maybe we reserve judgment. Let's be honest, it's going to be a car crash. We're going to see Aubameyang and Lacazette doing bad dances. We're going to see Arsenal celebrating a draw at home to West Brom or somebody awful like that. We're going to see us get humped 7-0 at Chelsea or something along those lines. I think we just have to kind of sit back and go, because I like to see what happens behind the scenes. But I just don't want to see us end up like Liverpool were and Man City were. And Man City weren't really mocked, were they, because they were winning. But what I don't want to see is like that lot down the road, having a party at our expense because of, a Mourinho-esque skit. But then who knows? Like, imagine if we won something. I mean, imagine. Yeah,
I mean, let's put it this way: the big things that came out from the Spurs documentary was the fact that Harry Kane is the least articulate person on the planet. Reaffirm that, but takes their team talks because should I mention it? The French goalkeeper that's their actual club captain can't do one to save his life.
God bless you, go.
Huge Loris. I'm excited for it. Another manager,
Freddie Ljungberg.
Oh, of course. How did you forget Freddie?
Yeah, Freddie. The
Chris
legend that is.
Now after that,
I've forgotten him already. Not just said it. Carry on. Sorry, Josh. Carry on.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I think it would be very interesting to see what happens behind the scenes. All these people going, "Oh, it'll be awful. Everyone's going to laugh at us." People fucking laugh at us anyway. Did you see the season we just had?
Yeah, that is true.
People were pissing themselves all season because we finished 10th.
Do you think there's any coincidence that this is the season we're selling Xhaka when we've got the TV crew coming in? Do you think there's any coincidence?
I think it's no coincidence. It's the first full season, I would say, where when we don't have European football, COVID's not a thing. And it's
theory.
not anymore. They just announced it.
Is it off?
It says it's off now. It's finished.
Oh, it's off. We turned it off.
Football didn't come home and COVID left.
Excellent.
That was the compromise.
As you were, everyone.
As you were.
Please continue.
It turned out the actual cure was for one man in the middle of a square to stick a flare up his bum, and
who knew?
COVID went.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew?
But yeah, I'd say also the Cronkies went through this with LA Rams.
Mm-hmm.
LA Rams had an all or nothing as well, and it was really, again, it's interesting. There's going to be stuff that you want. It's the same as we want. We want like the ultimate gossip, which you'll never get in this.
No,
it will be very much
tighter than a nun's chaff.
Yeah, it's going to be Richard Garlick talking a lot. Josh Kroenke will come on every so often and say, "Hey guys, I was over in the US of A."
Hey, that soccer, that soccer thing's great. Sorry to all of our US listeners. Thanks for watching. I know we'll never see you again.
Yeah, good night, everyone.
I do expect him to be. Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit like that. Some will go, "Oh, it's propaganda," but you know what? It would just be nice to see what the guys do. A bit like as the conversation we had earlier in the pod about the England team, the media surrounding that in terms of seeing what the guys are up to. One of the best wholesome moments was Saka in the swimming pool, with the unicorn. Very different to Danny in the bath with a sponge,
with a duck.
With a duck.
Yeah. That's
but I think
not
there'll be some stuff in there, and people will say, "Oh, they're going to meme the shit out of me." We're already a meme. We were a laughing stock after last season. Just get with yourselves.
And if nothing else, we get 10 mil out of it. If that buys us Soares and they another.
We're getting loads of stuff out of it. We're not in Europe this season.
That's enough.
Arguably,
to sack one of our players.
Yeah, we weren't gonna challenge probably for many European titles, but this is going to open us up to a global fan base more so. People are going to start watching it. Sunderland would have got thousands more sales of shirts, memorabilia, that kind of stuff because of the stuff they did with Netflix.
Yeah.
And we know we're massive, but this is, marginal gains. Someone's going to pay us a fuck ton of money for them to record 40 games. This is probably what we're going to play next season.
Opens us up for future advertising deals as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Potential partners and stuff like that, coffee brands and God knows what else. I mean,
whilst we don't want to get into bed necessarily with Jeff Bezos, I'd say that's probably the worst billionaire we're in bed with. Could be a lot worse.
Our bed's pretty big right now with people, so yeah,
that's true. We're getting rid of some of them. It's all right.
Yeah,
we have got a couple of other announcements. We have the retirement of Senderos, Giroud, the Swiss legend, and Bentner, and the unretirement. Josh, you told us about this, didn't you?
Oh shit! Who is this? Who came out of retirement?
The Kleb.
Oh yeah, Kleb came out of retirement.
Yeah, he's still cracking on. Yeah. Good man.
Friend of the pod, Jay Boothroyd's continuing for another season as well in the J League.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in pre-season at the moment.
Didn't Andrea Sharvin officially retire this year, or was that last year?
Oh, that was about 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. He ended up in Kazakhstan, I think.
I imagine he is very, very fat now. Very fat.
Yes.
But he feels like dog. He's
what a man.
I'm just looking at Kleb's thing. It's final stages of...
as you look that up, I tweeted about him when it was the anniversary of his signing a few days back, and genuinely, of the many, many Arsenal players I've seen in the flesh and on television, he was one of the most gifted dribblers I've ever seen. His end product was wonky at best, I think it would be fair to say, but with the ball at his feet, only Pires, sort of for me, and at times, and this won't be a popular opinion, but I'm going to say it, Samir Nasri had it as well. The ability to change feet and work.
I thought you were going to say Iwobi. That's what I was waiting for. Iwobi was a superb dribbler.
And of course, Santi Cazorla, who, we all love Santi Cazorla. He's probably one of the best ever. And that's Fabregas. But in terms of speed dribblers and, wing players, Pires and Kleb were on a different planet. And Kleb had that. He just looked like a guy who we'd sort of found in like a vegan cafe in Camden smoking on something questionable that we just went, here you go, lad, here's a kit, crack on. Not there's anything wrong with being vegan or indeed smoking the grass or
there's something wrong with both of those things. You do
Danny
either,
said
I
that,
think
not
you-
me. But he was just so gifted, and he was another one who got lured away by the money of Barcelona, and his career went literally nowhere straight afterwards. Just went. He'd never really played, and I think he ended up back in, was it Hungary or?
Who are we talking about?
Alex Lev, didn't he? Did he go back? Was it Hungary? Or did he go back?
Belarus.
Belarus. where his home
Every
country.
time they got into the Europa League, he joins them again. But now he's gone. He's playing in Bahrain. With some team there. I mean, there are worse places to spend your afternoons than in the sunny climate and on probably £100,000 a week.
Yeah. It's just a shame because I say he had it all at the time. Well, he didn't have the
Cried though, didn't he? I cried when I left.
Yeah. Well, don't they all? Ashley Cole swerved his car off the road, so
Maitland-Niles does that every other week, crashes a car.
There we go.
Walcott has gone on a free transfer back to Southampton.
Yeah. We've let go of a few youth players, haven't we? Some have gone on loan, some have gone for good. I think there's a few. Dan Ballard's gone out on loan, isn't he? To Millwall, is it Millwall?
If
Yes.
we want to talk about the
He's gone to
transfers, I can give you a little update on the players that have moved.
Just saves
Ben
us doing
Chief,
another pod, doesn't
Coventry.
Yeah,
Jason
good
does.
move. Good move for Ben Chief. I think he's a
that's
player who'll make it at
permanent.
the lower levels. Yeah.
Mhm.
Jason Schrar has joined Barnsley after we let him go. Joseph Oluwaya has become a milkman. Levi Lang has joined
I don't
West
even know if
Ham.
that's real or not. Is that real?
No, he's shit. David Luiz, I don't know what he's doing, probably off
Was
to
he-
MLS.
Was he the Spurs guy, Luwo, that we got from Spurs with all the hype last summer?
Levi Lang.
Oh, there was a
No.
guy. There was a young lad we got from Spurs. Wasn't
Yeah,
there?
I'm sure he's still in the
He's still there,
team.
is he?
I can't remember who.
Okay. And the
what his
lad
name
from
is.
Norway who we got.
And the one from Huddersfield as well.
Yeah.
Oh, the one from Norway was because he was Rwandan.
Yeah.
That's worked out well.
We got him over and didn't do anything. But yeah.
Alan Ben, Mr. Ben to his mates. He's gone to Watford. Luke Plange.
Alan Ben. Who named
Ben.
their
Aaron.
child? Oh, sorry. It's an
Greatest
Alan.
name ever.
Alan Ben. I was like,
we
he
got-
sounds already middle-aged.
Have we got a Patrick Nigel in our back line in the under 21s, or is it the over 40s? I don't know.
Luke Plange has gone to Derby. Trey Kyle has, it sounds Irish, he's not. He's gone to Lausanne Sport, who are owned
He was
by...
decent, Trey Kyle. Yeah, he was good.
They're owned by Enos.
Yes,
Enos.
the Nice,
Yes.
the Nice people. Yeah.
Zach
That's,
Medley has gone to Oostend in Belgium.
Yeah, permanent deal.
Mark McGuinness, Cardiff City, and then players out on
That's-
loan. Matt Smith.
That's
Go on.
one I want to keep an eye on. I think Josh is going to watch a bit of Championship with Ross next year.
He was
I
good
think
with
he's
Very
Ipswich.
good. He's very good at Ipswich.
Yeah.
I think he's one
Matt
to keep
Smith.
an eye on.
Only 20
another
still.
good one.
He's decent. They've got a Doncaster on loan. Some bloke
Yep.
called Matteo Gingerwenzi's gone to Marseille. Good luck there. Mental place. £1 million for the loan with an obligation to buy for
Watch
10
him.
million.
Watch him do really well at Marseille. He's going to be under the tutelage of an equally nuts manager in the form of Sampaoli. Marseille
Jesus.
rebuilding.
Wasn't he at
And
Napoli or something?
Sampaoli is the former Chile manager.
He
And
was
he's-
at
He's under the school of Bielsa.
Sevilla,
Yeah.
I think. And
Yes, it was Sevilla, wasn't it?
did he, yeah. Did he spend some time in Italy? I want to say he did.
I think he did.
Was it Samp?
It might have been Samp. I might have to check this now. He's done the rounds. He has done the rounds. But yeah, he is notoriously a very fiery character, Argentinian. He's famous for wearing. He's got quite heavy. He's heavily tattooed, which is a man after my own heart. And he's
Jesus.
famous for wearing extremely tight-fitting black t-shirts on the
And
sideline.
why not?
He is not a manager with which to be fucked with. Let's put it that way.
No, he wasn't in. No, he wasn't in Italy with Santos.
He's managed. Where I first came across him was Universidad de Chile, which at the time they were the big club in Chile, and then he went to the Chile national team, Sevilla, managed Argentina between 2017-18, back to Santos, Atlético Mineiro, which is Gilberto Silva's old club, for those interested, and then he's arrived at Marseille midway through last season, and he guided them to 5th place in Liga, and they looked a lot better under him. So, and there's a lot of proper shithouses at Marseille, so Guendouzi will fit in a treat. And I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, and I know he didn't help himself, but there's a talent.
I love that saying.
There is a talent in that lad. It's just unfortunate that our manager doesn't like to deal with any players that challenge his authority because, things and stuff, but whatever.
The old Ravel Morrison curse,
Oh, Rafael Morrison. Is he still a thing? Or is he a DJ now or some shit? I don't know.
A couple of other things to go through. There is Daniel Ballard has gone to Millwall on loan in the Championship. Another really, really good player. But he's
that Millwall side
his age
is.
here.
Isn't he a Northern Irish international already?
He is. Yeah.
There you go.
He'd already played for Northern Ireland, I think, before making his professional before his professional debut.
Oh wow!
It was that early.
That says more about Northern Ireland than it does about anything else.
Yeah.
Again, thanks for listening, our Northern Irish viewers. Thanks for probably never see you again, but thanks for tuning in anyway.
If Owen, Ian, Ian, Olwan, Inwen, or however you say his fucking name is listening, you missed out on a toe. Ex-Arsenal players on the move. Josh Reiss, Aldershot to Boreham Wood. Oli Giroud has gone from Chelsea to Milan at 34, Chris.
Good signing, like that a lot. Him and Zlatan up front. Oh, give me some of that, inject it. Although it is AC, so fuck them.
A combined 19 games of the season between them. Podolski has left Antalya Spor. He's gone
to Poland. He's gone to Poland.
So
he has joined another club.
Yeah, he's gone to Poland. He's gone back to his what he said was his hometown team.
He's Polish.
Yeah, because he's born in Poland.
Zabrezi.
Is he going to be running his kebab shop in Germany full time now?
I'm presuming he is expanding to the Polish market with his chain of kebabs.
As our Steve would say, splendid business.
Splendid business.
Yes.
130 games for Germany, 49 goals. And for Arsenal, much maligned, but because he wasn't played right. He got in the Premier League 19 in 60, overall 31 in 82. His first season, 16 goals, then 12, then 3.
And nobody will ever forget that belter against Montpellier at the end.
Thunder bastard.
What a strike that was. Christ, yeah.
Or the one where he nearly killed Neuer against Bayern.
Yes,
near post. Just suddenly wound it up, and Neuer was like, "Oh, fuck."
I'm moving out of the way. This one, moving on.
Shotgudan Mustafi has left.
Sorry,
has been let go by Schalke. That was no surprise because he was only ever on a short-term deal. Matthew Debuchy.
Is he a free agent now then?
He's left Saint Etienne and he's probably going to sign for some team in New York.
Yeah, he's going to New York Rebels apparently, which is a good signing for them if they get him.
35. Javier Amechi. I'm too good for Arsenal. I'm leaving. I'm brilliant. I'm going to Barcelona, Germany. Oh, he's been loaded Bolton in League One. Good luck.
Bolton, Barcelona, they're all the same, aren't they?
It's a jewel of the north.
He went to Karlsruhe. It was the other young man.
Karlsruhe, yeah.
There's another young man who went to Barca.
Is Mustafi a free agent then, did you say?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, God. So
and he's only 29.
Look forward to him popping up at somewhere like Middlesbrough or
the Pirates.
Even without a club, we'll still sign him.
Kieran Gibbs has left West Brom to go into Miami.
Yeah,
has he?
That was announced in January, and then obviously, if anybody follows MLS with any hostess, one understands that David Beckham is running a similar racket to FC Barcelona's financial issues right now.
Very much so,
players they've got. Well, who's the Argentinian they got up front? Is it Higuain?
Yeah,
Higuain.
They had Matuidi, but then they didn't have Matuidi, and then they got fined for having Matuidi.
And they conveniently offset that money. And they also have what's the Argentine winger? Rossi, is it? No, that's LAFC.
Didn't they play Matuidi in Horse, Coke, and Yachts?
I believe so. Yeah, both
Allegedly.
injected directly into his veins, apparently. So
here's another one.
Good.
The Jet has left Livingston and signed for Aberdeen, which is good.
Wow, that's a good move for him.
30 now.
Wow. How old do you feel?
Another prospect, Henry Lansbury. He was let go by Villa and joined Bristol City last season on a short-term contract. He's now signed for Luton Town. I'm not sure what league they're in, but I hate Luton.
Championship. He had Jack Wilshere potential, didn't he? Henry Lansbury at the young age, and it just never quite kicked. I don't know.
Scored against Spurs, I remember.
He did in the League Cup. That was the 5-5 draw, wasn't it? And he was a bit David Bentley, a bit Jack Wilshere. He was a confident lad. But it just never quite happened. And I always felt for him because he was good for Villa in the Championship, and then he never really got a run in the Premier League. So
the Barcelona player was Marcus McGuane. He's 22. He's left
Marcus McGuane.
Ronaldo, is it?
No, he is in League 2, I think.
Close. League One. He's left Forest and gone to Oxford.
Oh,
wow.
I remember him going to Forest. That was it.
Here's one for the dads. Gervinho has left Parma in Italy, and do you know where he's gone?
Well, you say he's left Parma in Italy. I'm sure his hair's probably still in Parma in Italy.
It's in the drain.
It's being rinsed out as we speak. No, where's he gone then?
He's left for my Turkish team, Trabzonspor, and the ex-team of Kevin Campbell.
Well, what do you know, Trabzonspor?
Yeah, wonderful.
He'll probably do all right in Turkey, to be fair.
Final one I've got, Takuma Asano.
What a wonderful
phrase.
He's gone from FK Partizan. He left them because they didn't pay his wages, and he's joined Bochum in Germany in the Bundesliga.
Oh, they got promoted, didn't they?
Seemingly
decent, because he got goals for Stuttgart, didn't he, when he went on loan over there? So yeah, he was another one from the Park Ju Young school of why did we really sign him? Oh yeah, shirts. Whoops, that didn't work out. I always want those sort of signings to work, like those where you look at him and you go, why are we signing who? What? Why? And I always want them, the Cabadillas of this world, players that nobody's ever heard of, because I always want them to be the next Christopher Wray. Just that guy that comes in and is a hero for half a season and gets us to a cup final and then goes off and eats his body weight in donuts and you never hear from him again. Fabian Caballero, remember him, Danny? Scored against Preston in the FA
we had him on loan and then he went to play for Dundee. And then went back to South America.
And he absolutely elbowed the twat out of a Preston player's face in the build-up to the goal, which I think was scored by either Overmars or Petit to get us the fourth goal in the 4-2 win. And if you watch that game back, he absolutely smashes the shit out of a Preston defender. Look that one up on YouTube, boys and girls. God, I've turned into you, Danny. I'm remembering things from I don't even know why. Good times. But yeah, I'm like you, Josh. I'm all for the obscure players to keep an eye on. So we need to find an obscure Arsenal signing and keep an eye on him this season.
And one other ex-Arsenal player on the move is the Sanogo. He has a short-term contract with Huddersfield in the Championship. 7 games, no goals, and now they've told him to sling his hook.
Oh, he missed a penalty as well. That should also be
still only 28. I had big hopes for him.
He's got return to France written all over him because he came from Toulouse. He's the sort of guy that will probably go to kind of a Brest or a Nantes or not a Rennes. Someone mid-table.
Nice man.
Even a St Etienne type of club. He'll probably end up.
That's where he wants to go. He's
not going to play in League Dirt, doesn't he? He's above that level.
They avoided relegation by a gnat testicle to the National League, as I think the French call it. We've waffled on for nearly 2 hours. It's meant to be a half-hour show. Who do we blame?
Well, we haven't done a pod of it in a while, have we? So
I blame Chris.
I blame this man, Carl. Piss off, Carl.
It's usually Carl's fault because he's in control of everything in the UK, including electricity. So it is ultimately Carl's fault, to be fair.
Well, what better way to end the show than picking on 17'6" Carl, who was desperate to pay. He was going to sell his house to pay for a ticket for yesterday, and I bet he's glad he didn't.
I bet he didn't. Yeah. Am I allowed to do a cheeky gentleman's nod just to something? Somebody.
Well, we've talked about every other possible thing, so it can't get any worse.
It's absolutely nothing to do with Arsenal or football. So if you want to tune out at this point, dear listener, please feel free. For those who are left, our Americans have already gone.
Those who are falling asleep to the podcast.
All we need to do is offend the English and we're away. But as I say, it's not coming home. So the as a lot of you will know, because I said at the start of the show, obviously, I've changed my handle because I found, much like Josh found a passion for cycling, little nod to you, Josh. I found a passion for running, I want to say like 2 years ago, really. But I've kind of kicked on a gear this year. No pun intended, just because out of lockdown and everything, I wanted to try and stay in some sort of shape. As Danny will tell you, we're all getting old, sadly. Danny's a lot older than us, of course. But the older you get, the harder it is to keep your weight off. And there's a lot of really inspiring people on this here internet thing that genuinely, I think sometimes you read these stories about how people have battled, diseases, illnesses, and personal mental demons and everything that goes with it. We're quite big on that on the pod. And about 2 years or so ago, when I started my running journey, to use a naff phrase, I came across somebody on Instagram who I think a hell of a lot of. She's a lady in her sort of, I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, in her mid-30s. She's a mother of 2 very beautiful daughters. She's a wife. And she suffered with severe confidence issues, and she had a huge weight gain. And she was in a position where she was struggling to do just the everyday mundane challenges, everything, etc. Over the course of this weekend, she's run an ultra marathon, and I want to say it's her 3rd. It might even have done more than 3. But to do one, Josh again will tell you, to do anything at ultra level is nuts. It's 100k for those who don't know, and doing that on foot is genuinely inspirational. And I wanted to be part of her kind of business. So I just wanted to give her a shout out, because I know that some people do struggle, male and females, they struggle for like people to follow on, Instagram and other places like that, and people that are just going to motivate them. And her journey, genuinely, if you see the before and after pictures, she hasn't done anything fantastic. She's just eaten well, looked after herself, and kept trucking on. So this is a plug for Laura. This is her business. It's called We Are Fearless, which you will probably see there if I can get the right angle. There you go. This is her business. You can see like the rainbow motif there, which is her little logo. She has all types of, male, female, big, small, all sorts of people that follow her. And she runs a business which essentially just promotes well-being, good health, good diet, all those good things. And she's not a preachy type. She's just a genuinely lovely human being who spreads really good messages. So if that sort of thing interests you, and if you struggled over lockdown and you're like, I just need to get myself in shape, or I want to take up a sport, as I say, Josh is probably your man if you want to look into more of the cycling aspect. And if you want to look into the running aspect, I'll answer any questions. But Laura is a fantastic follow. I know her. She is on Twitter, but most of her stuff is on Instagram. And if you just follow We Are Fearless Club, or her name is Laura Jones on Instagram, or Laura Ellen J, if you will. So I just wanted to give her a little plug. She doesn't know I'm doing this. I will tell her later on and thoroughly embarrass her. But it's just an important message. And hopefully, with us coming out of COVID and maybe with a bit of summer left, now's a good time to get out there and enjoy yourselves in your personal goals. So there you go. That's me done. Just wanted a little plug. So big up to Laura, and thank you very much, dear listeners, for letting me rang on for that.
Well, I think we're all done now.
Unless Josh wants to plug anything, of course.
I don't think there's enough time left in the world.
Just the fantasy football that you're going to win this season.
We're going to launch this tomorrow. At the moment, it's Monday. It's 9:41 p.m. and I should get this up and do it tomorrow afternoon. And that's it. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for listening and joining in with the wonderful chat. It's been the quietest ever. Thank you very much, Josh. The ABW is number one, Josh, obviously.
Yes, obviously. Thank you, Danny. It's been, I suppose, great to be back. So,
it's been something.
Mid-season. It's certainly been something. It was great to pick up my award.
It certainly was. And also thank you to Chris, Mr. Runs, to his mates.
Runs. Yes. Yeah, thank you, Danny. It's good to be back. And here's to hopefully a more positive season. And we'll be back when we talk about the 74,000th player we've been linked to. And when we finally sign Ben White or whoever it is to come first. So, we'll be back. But thanks, dear listener, for tuning in. We love you lots.
Right. And, that's it. Right. Goodbye.
#